This is where the fun begins.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Setcast podcast, a Star Wars podcast where we pretty much talk anything and everything Star Wars. I'm one of your hosts for tonight, PJ the Paradox Stern, alongside my co-hosts Sean Solo and Anthony, aka Sith Cast Holocron, aka BMX Jedi. Let's rock it! 200th episode, man.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Listen, for this particular episode, I kind of wanted to bring back some of my, good old friends, OGs in I guess you could call it the YouTube game, the podcast game, whatever you want to call it. First and foremost, let's introduce Rob, aka Red Cup Review. Dude, I actually really miss your freaking intro, man.
How you guys doing, man?
What's up, Rob? Thank you for hopping on the show, man. Glad to have you on the show.
This is like 2 years in the making for me. I haven't been on YouTube in so long, and it's just a pleasure to be back here with my friends. I know I just met Sean and Anthony, but Thor and PJ and myself go way back, and I love these guys. So
yeah, I love you too, man. Honestly, that's it's one of the great things about YouTube is like you make good friends and you keep in contact, and I know you said you haven't really been doing the YouTube thing in a while, but can you let everyone know where they can hit you up and find you and find some of your old good reviews, man? I miss your Mezco stuff.
Yeah,
that was a shit. Excuse my language.
What really killed the momentum of the channel was when COVID popped off, even just after everything got delayed so much that at one point I had nothing to review anymore. It was just like I had 20 figures sitting waiting to show up, and then nothing was coming, and then 5 would come at a time, and I just wouldn't even have how the YouTube game works when you're trying to review action figures and stuff. If you're not first, you're last, and then you want to put out quality content. So you're rushing to get it done, and sometimes you'll put out something that I always put a lot of effort into my reviews.
Yeah,
flashcards, stuff like that, and it just took too long for things to come out. So then I was doing the live shows, and then the live shows were it was interfering with family life too much, and it wasn't growing as fast as I had hoped. And when the Mezco stuff was actually popping up, I was getting a few thousand hits per view, that was like the bread and butter of the channel. And then when those weren't showing up, and then showing up at the end of the year 5, 6 at a time, I was like, forget it, I can't keep up with this, because you need to space it out throughout the year. You need content. But it is what it is. I'm just happy to be back here now and see you guys.
Yeah, man. And a lot of people don't realize that when you're doing like the reviews, man, it's not just like you put the product there and you shoot it and you kind of like sometimes you kind of like want to like you're basically the full production, right? You're the writer, the editor, the actor,
I always look at it like
the
this.
director.
Yeah,
light.
A lot of times when people will go to watch, they'll go on YouTube and they'll look for a review, and they'll just watch the review of whatever toy it is or statue that they're looking to buy, right? But what's going to keep the person coming back to your channel, right? So I always try to put a little bit of personality in there. Sometimes when you watch your average review, it's just a figure sitting on the shelf. The guy talks about it. Maybe does like a little spinny thing on a Lazy Susan with some music playing. But I always made sure that there was like specific music specific to
I know it's yeah.
I would always change my intro up to get people interested to actually watch the intro, because the intros get monotonous. So I would always throw new clips in there, and that takes time. Each video you could, even if you shot it in, let's say, an hour or two, you're looking at like maybe 3 or 4 hours worth of editing. And then before you even get started, if I know, let's say, a Batman figure is coming out, and let's just say it's the '89 Batman, I'm going on YouTube, I'm searching for clips of the movie to interplay between each section. You know, like I always thought of like when the Transformers cartoon, right, would go to like a new like right, and it would go to the thing would flip, and we would go to the next scene in the cartoon. So in the next part of the review, I would try to put a little clip, you know, that has to do with the figure I'm reviewing, and that stuff takes time, man, and the time and effort you put in, if you're not getting the hits or the mentions, you know, it's tough. It's an uphill battle.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and everyone knows me by my alias, the Paradox Nerd, and you're probably wondering like, damn, this guy hasn't put out any reviews. But it's basically it takes a lot out of you, you know, like, and on top of that, there is like really no returns. Like you know, especially when we do the podcast that we're doing, like I love doing it because I love talking about Star Wars, right? If I didn't have this, who the hell would I talk Star Wars with? You know, I'll call Sean and I'll call Anthony on the phone. Yeah. But, you know, if I could talk to other people in the chat or, you know, maybe meet them in person and, you know, have like a common bond, which is Star Wars, great. You know, that's basically, you know, why I love doing it, you know, in terms of, you know, Sean and Anthony would tell you there is little money here.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, hey, Sean, I'm going to pay you $50 an hour per episode to come on the show.
Yeah, it costs money.
Sorry, I might have given that money to Anthony, by the way, Sean. Just
dang it. That's what I get for taking a hiatus. I knew it.
I'm like, all right, well, let's, you know, give Anthony some money here. No, but like, it's true. It's just doing YouTube and doing podcasts sometimes. There has to be a love for it and for you to kind of keep doing it. And sometimes in terms of returns, really not much. So, all right. So Red Cup review.
Yep,
Please check them out.
You can check me out, Red Cup Review.
What up, guys?
Hey,
yo, what's up, Matt? Wait, I remember this guy from you know, way back when.
Yeah, what's up, man? What's up?
Rogue 16, yeah.
So yeah, Red Cup Review on YouTube if you want to catch any old videos. And there's a ton of old, like same thing here. We used to do this. PJ would come on my show periodically. We had Darth Vader on, Thor, you know, would be on a bunch of times. So, you know, you guys can go check out old archives of that and any, you know, scroll through the reviews if you guys are just into looking at like action figure reviews.
Yeah.
And stuff. That's it. The name's
right,
right there on the screen.
All right, awesome. All right, Thor. We'll go to you, man. How's it been, man?
It's funny you talking about this YouTube stuff because I think it was yesterday I got an email from Google. So here's your tax form for all these millions that you done. I'm like, whatever, man. why y'all even sending me this crap? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's funny that you're talking about that stuff. But yeah, I've been good, man. You know, can't complain, working.
Yeah. Glad to have you on the show, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
I'm very happy to be here. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's just crazy, you know, like I said, 200 episodes. It's just like, you know, reflecting back, like, wow, damn, that's a lot of episodes. Plus, you know, just thinking about like all the times, like, you know, not only when, you know, Rob, Red Cup, you know, first started, Thor, DCX, Dark Castle first started, also, but with Matt. We'll go to you, man. And also when we first started together, like, man, that was was it the Scavengers? 6 Scale Scavengers, right?
Yeah,
that's when
probably.
I first met
Yeah.
Matt. And you know, back then Matt was such an innocent collector, man.
Yeah.
Innocent collector. You know, this guy is like hot toys.
Fresh.
He's like, you know, he's got a nice collection in the back, you know, like, you know, he's got the OT.
My shelves and my hot toys.
Yeah.
A couple Funko Pops on the shelf.
There you go.
Yeah.
First of all, honored to be asked to come to the special episode. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
As little as I've offered you over the years, PJ, other than my friendship.
Which is actually more than what I've. No, seriously, friendship.
For sure.
Like, so important.
No, but I thank you for having me, and I hope everyone's doing all right. But yeah, man, it's been a long time. It feels longer than it probably actually is.
Yeah.
But man, it's been fun to see kind of all the stuff that you've done, all the stuff that, I know Sean, you jumping into this stuff, and
Yeah.
it's been really cool to see that, and obviously being able to chat with some of these guys and Thor every now and then is really special. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, and that I think if anything, out of like the biggest positive of doing like YouTube and podcasting or whatever is the friends that you make, and to me that even though, like I said, there's like ups and downs and things like that with sometimes with the YouTube drama or even the podcasting drama in general, I think the biggest brightest light and positive outcome out of everything is the friendship that I have made throughout the years. So that's why I had to invite you guys on the show. I really appreciate it. And going to Sean, Sean joined us a couple years ago, and it's one of those things where three. Oh shit, man, it's been that long.
Been 3 years. It's crazy.
Holy Jesus, man.
It's actually it was 3 years in November, so it's over 3 years now.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Time fucking flies. Excuse my language.
It really does.
Yeah. Holy moly.
I don't even think my beard was this gray when I started, so maybe it's you to blame.
Well, yeah, exactly. Me enabling you to buy more things and not being smart about your money. But no, Sean joined us 3 years ago, and I really appreciate it, man. And we became really good friends as well.
Yeah.
And what a journey so far, man. It's a fun journey.
Yeah. The last 6 months have been in a journey too, because I moved, so I missed a bunch of episodes, and
that's all right, man.
I'm trying to get my game legs back. Even tonight, I texted and I was like, "Dude, I'm still at work." I was like, "I gotta haul ass just to get here." And
man. Well,
I'm eating backstage while we're before the show, and I'm like,
"Yeah,
it's life. It gets in the way." But
yeah, it does get in the way. And
Sean, are you moved in now? Are you like good to go? Or
the room's still in a little disarray. You can see on this side it's getting a little better, but this side is so we got some work to do. When I say
all you need, Sean, all you need is that one camera side. Don't worry about the rest of worry about the rest of your
do I just turn everything this way?
Just the background, that one background. All you need.
Yeah.
That's it. So. But and I'm always recruit Anthony on the weekend, like, dude, you got to come over and help me build this and make this and fix this and do that. And so
but it's definitely a journey, and like I got a chance to meet Sean in person, flew down to South Carolina and surprised him on his birthday, so that was fun. Thanks to Anthony's help, by the way, which he just joined us recently. He's new to this stuff, and we've been friends. I've been friends with Anthony. I think this almost the same time I've been friends with Sean.
Yeah.
Just a little bit shorter because I met Anthony through Sean. I guess a couple months after he joined Sithcast. So it's a pleasure to have Anthony on the show. So yeah, hope you're enjoying it, Anthony.
Yeah, man. I always have a blast.
Yeah. So. But besides that, man, Gina B Collecting should be joining us a little bit later. But just real quick, I was watching Matt's show last Saturday in Rogue 1-6 with shooting the shit, and I love the topic that you guys were talking about in terms of collecting and space, man. Versus collecting versus curating and all that stuff. So
it got very deep.
Yeah, it got very deep. I loved it. Yeah, no, and and the guys that were on the show were giving some good responses and feedback.
They've been a lot of those guys have been collecting a really, really long time. So
yeah, and I was gonna ask you, a bunch of guys, man, collecting's evolved in the past, I would say 3-4 years, ever since COVID. I think with COVID, there was a big spike in collecting. And I'm not sure if it's because, everyone was cooped up at home and things like that. And then just recently, I see companies kind of scaling back. I think I read an article. I'm not sure if it's old or new. And, Rob, I know you collect a lot of figures and, Mezco stuff. I heard about Hasbro, scaling back on producing figures. And then a couple weeks ago or 2-3 weeks ago, Diamond Select Toys is just kind of
That's crazy.
Diamond Comics is they're filing for bankruptcy.
Yeah, I knew about Diamond going under years ago now. I have a buddy of mine, comic shop, and he was I knew about Diamond going under for years now, and they kept kind of hanging on. That I was like, you're aware of the Mezco exclusives that they used to do through Diamond, and my buddy was like, "Oh, those days are over, pal." He was like, "They're done." The guys who owned Diamond had this museum down in, it was called the Geppi Museum, GEPPI, and I went there. They're in what was that?
Is it in Baltimore? Or something?
Baltimore, exactly.
Yeah,
right in yards, and that closed down.
It did, yeah.
Oh
So-
wow, shoot!
Yeah, they had some dope stuff. When I was there, I was at a bachelor party down there in Baltimore, and I just happened to be like, "Oh, this place looks cool. Let's go in here."
Bachelor party.
Yeah, we were
Down
just
in the toy store. That's kidding. I'm kidding.
and they had like some really, really cool old stuff. Like I was within inches of like the first appearance of Superman, Batman, all the good shit, you know. But they better be real careful with how they produce things going forward, because I think our generation's it, guys. Once
Yeah, no, I agree.
I agree too.
like we're the last. I mean, I'm 40. I'll be 43 next month, and my brother got me into collecting a little bit. He doesn't do so. Yeah, he actually still does. He's 50 now. The Saturday morning cartoon generation is the last collecting generation, and my son does a little bit. None of his friends do. And we're talking about like a whole school. And I coach the football team, so I know all these kids, and none of them do Star Wars. They kind of know Marvel a little bit. No one really knows DC. They only know the movies. And if the movies are popular, they have to be like big one, like event movies. And as far as the actual collecting of statues and toys, I think that they better cash in with us, because after us, it's when we're in our 60s and like 70s, I don't think we're going to be seeing this stuff.
Rob, don't you think though that's partly part of that is because there's just so much content now? Like there wasn't as nearly as much stuff when we were kids to watch.
Right.
So you got really, really sucked into like what was there to kind of get your eyes on and watch. There's so much shit now that nobody has any loyalty to anything anymore.
Yeah,
they watch so much
these
stuff.
kids are just into like, I know there's a lot of sports kids. A lot of them are into just whatever YouTube tells them to be into,
Sure.
whatever follower person that they watch, content creators, TikTok, stuff like that. And it's like the same way with music too. I feel as though like I have this conversation with my son periodically about music. I'm like, yo, do you not like, you and none of your friends listen to like, they'll talk about rappers, and I'm like, none of you listen to Redman, none of you listen to Wu-Tang, none of you listen to all these greats that they're not like 80s, 70s hip hop. This is like still real fire music. And they're like, nah, it's like, I'm like, well, how do you find out about music? It's like, well, whatever TikTok tells us to listen to.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
And it's like, that's whack, because you miss out on a whole lot of stuff. Like, all right, so all the stuff I should be into, I should only be into like, let's say, 90s alternative grunge music and 90s hip hop. But a lot of music I like is from the 70s and early 80s, when I had no business listening to that type of music. I just know good music is good music. I still think Prince is awesome, even though he's not really part of my generation. He's still great, so I'm into bands like the Eagles just because they're great. But these kids don't have I also think I blame the parents too. I blame parents for not bringing their kids into their world and the stuff that made them happy.
Absolutely.
Like, I asked my son, like, any of your friends? He's like, none of my friends know about any like a good movie. Like, they'll be hanging out and they're like, oh, what movie do you want to watch? And it's always the Terrifier. My son rolls his eyes. You want to see a real horror movie? It's fun. Let's watch Predator. Let's watch Cabin in the Woods or something.
Alien series.
Alien. Oh my god, yeah.
And the same thing goes for music. And the same thing goes for like, none of these parents are showing their kids like the way I did with Grayson. Check out the Transformers cartoon from when I was a kid. Let's watch the '86 movie, or let's watch the G.I. Joe movie from when we were kids. What you got to start when they're young in order to keep that connection through the generations going.
Yeah, I do think there's something to be said about like. And I think we mentioned this, PJ. I don't know if you remember us talking about this, where we said that us collecting will affect what our kids do in the future. They may not collect Star Wars. They may not collect the things we would think that kids would collect. Yeah. But like my girl my girl collects Tokidoki things, these little Tokidoki like things that she likes to get at like Comic Cons and stuff. She's already kind of has that thing about her, and I can tell that maybe at some point she's still going to have that, but I think it's going to be totally different than what I would think it is, right? Like it's I don't know what is affecting them and what's actually something that they are holding on to, like we have, like nostalgia. I don't know if there's going to be nostalgia collecting. That's kind of what I think is going to go. The nostalgia collecting, I don't think is going to be a thing anymore. I think it's going to be more so just like what they think is cool. And I want to get some stuff to put on my shelf. I don't know if that's considered collecting, but it is changing. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but there's like, and also whatever, like, what Rob said, like TikTok or even celebrities are into. There's like Labubu. This is thing called Labubu. I don't know. It's like these little like little like small like statue-ish figurines. They're almost like designer toys ish that a lot of people are collecting because they can hang it on their bags and stuff like that. But
people will still collect things. It's just going to be different, I think. And that's interesting. Like, what is Sideshow going to do? Like what are some of these companies going to do? Right? Like that is not their ball game. Right.
Yeah.
So they're going to go the Diamond Select route. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah,
well, the thing too is, if you notice, like, and I don't know if you guys peeped Sideshow's, some of their products recently, a lot of their edition sizes are small as hell. They're like 200, 300.
As much.
They're not selling as much compared to 5,000 Ahsokas that they made.
I feel like I've noticed that about Prime 1 too. That I feel like I've seen a lot of these like really small edition sizes on some of them, some of their stuff.
Yeah,
I know the collecting. Sorry to cut you off, PJ. I know the collecting world is like prices go up and stuff, but like when Thor got me, remember when you hooked me up with that that dude that sold the Wonder Woman statue?
Yeah,
all right, so I still have that one, the premium format, where she has the spear on her back.
Yeah, the OG.
That was like $300 when it came out.
Yeah.
$300 format figure. Now we're going back like, I mean, I don't know you, even know you 10 years, Thor. So we're not going back that long.
No.
And now premium formats are like $800-900. I'm like, again, that's 3 times the price in like 7 or 8 years.
That's like the Mythos statues. The Mythos statues were like freaking nothing.
400 or 500, and they're like $1,000.
Crazy.
Now.
Yeah, no,
it was like $1,100 for that fucking Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me, Mythos statue. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's
the
crazy.
DeLorean costs you a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's affecting. And we mentioned this as well, PJ. It's affecting. It's affecting like what also has changed is resale. Like, since COVID, like you can't sell stuff for hardly anything these days.
Bro, I sold my armor, Hot Toys armor for like 125. That's 50% off.
Yeah,
right. $125 or $130.
Dude, Jason sold a first order Stormtrooper hot toy to somebody, and he threw another one in the box because he can't get rid of them, so he just gave him one. It's a hot toy. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy.
That is crazy because considering how much they're charging retail for that. And the thing too is that's why I always say is like there has to be a good ecosystem where you take a hit, but not like that.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Not like that. So and that's the thing too is that like I saw in a post in like I think Rad Titan or something like that or some statue Facebook group where even with statues, they're like, my God, like they would have to like sell a statue for $200-300.
Yeah.
For a $800 or $900 statue to sell it, just to sell it.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, just real quick, we're going on a rant, and I told Sean and Anthony this. Guys, whoever's listening that's on those marketplaces, when I say brand new, I mean brand new, like literally never touch. Don't ask me if the accessories are all in there. That defeats the purpose of it being brand new.
Or if someone's like, it's brand, you say it's brand new, and someone's like, can I get pictures of the item? And you're like, what? I can't.
What the fuck?
I'm not gonna get in this thing. It's not brand new anymore. You dumbass.
Yeah. It's not like new. It's brand new. It's like
not out of the packaging.
Yeah. Oh my
God. That's why I don't like selling stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like dealing with the nonsense.
Yeah.
I had some
Yeah.
guy a couple of years ago, I was selling some stuff, and it's just like 25 questions, and then finally he he was like, how much is it? I don't know. Let's just say it was $300 or something. He's like, oh man, what's the lowest you would go?
Yeah,
like-
yeah. The famous question.
I'll pay you $10 to take it. He's like, what? Oh, I wouldn't do that. It's like, I was like, man, I just ain't got the patience. I don't have the
Yeah.
patience to deal with the nonsense. Like,
Yeah.
this is
It's-
the price. It's,
Well, that and
I-
that and you'll even get people asking you if you're just leaving the hobby because you're selling like
Yeah.
one thing, and it's like, dude, come on, man. Like that's why I don't
Yeah.
like to sell a lot of things publicly because it's just really frustrating.
I had somebody
Yeah.
that bought some stuff from me 6 months ago or something, or a year ago, and he was like, hey, do you still got, it was like 5 of them, like Bo-Katan, Heavy Mando, Cody, and another one. I said, those are gone. I still have Heavy Mando and Bo-Katan. And he was like, oh, okay. He's like, well, how much? And I was like, I'll sell them to you for $450 shipped. And he was like, oh man, somebody else said 400. I said, yeah, that's fine. If you want to do it, I could ship them out today. He was like, could you go? Is that the lowest you could go?
Oh my
And I was
god.
just like,
Yeah, right there. You want to punch him right in the face.
I really did. It was just like, I was like, yeah,
I'm gonna
pretty
give him
much.
two for fucking free, bro. Like
That's
Did
what I
he-
said. Like in the past, I basically told the guy, I'll pay you $10 to take them.
Did he ask
know-
you for a? Did he ask you for a payment plan?
Oh man.
That's the other thing everybody's doing.
Well, that
these
was
days.
coming. That was next.
Yeah, it probably was coming. If I
Yeah,
would have said
it-
if I would have said 380, he's like, oh man, can I pay you like $100 a week? Probably it was coming. Sure.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, after you go all through that like negotiating, right? And then
Mhm.
finally when you're like, okay, let's go, they
Oh,
they
man,
hit
can
you
you
with
wait
like
3 weeks? I gotta
hey
wait for
man,
my check.
like,
Like,
you know, my paycheck and
Yeah.
then it's
Yeah,
like, no,
it's
I
like,
don't want to do
dude,
any payment
I don't
plans,
need the
bro.
fucking money.
I'm not
Like, it's
Sideshow.
just ridiculous.
Like, bro, like I'm not Sideshow. Like just
Yeah.
Well,
don't pay
then
the-
you
I
can't
don't
afford
need
it.
the money. Like
Don't
I
pay
need the space out of my closet. That's what
Yeah.
I
Right.
need.
You know what my
You know.
favorite is when they go in the groups and they go, "Oh, looking for an Anakin Skywalker, but I'm only going to pay $150." Like they like to tell you
Yeah.
how much they're going to buy it from you.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I'm the seller. I have what you want. I
Yeah.
make the price. You don't
Yeah.
make the price. And that drives me insane. When
yeah,
I see
usually I
people
look at
post
that, I'm like, even if I had the figure, I'm like, nah, I'm not selling it to you.
And
Yep.
it's something like ridiculous. I'm like, listen,
Just for the
you're
principle.
in the wrong hobby if you're trying to get a $500 figure for $150. Like that ain't gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough.
Well, Thor, I know, like, actually Thor he's been pretty good. Like he doesn't really like, sell a lot of like stuff, right? So
No.
he's always been patient. And he just, has what he has. But you've seen the market change or the statue game change so much. Like, what have you like? How do you envision the statue game being in like 5 years from now?
It's hard to tell, man, because I saw somebody put a post up today. They were getting something from Prime One, and I think they were just pre-ordered it, and they said they quoted the shipping at $600.
$600.
Yeah, somebody put a post up, and I was like,
Jeez.
wow. And I was like, is this becoming the norm for real? You know what I mean? So,
Or I saw one the other day for $800 something.
You see?
The
What?
shipping.
you know what I
That's
mean?
crazy.
I had
I
no
mean, that was
idea.
like-
I have no idea what the piece was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was like it said $632.
It's crazy.
So it's. I mean,
It
it's
probably was
becoming-
big.
I'm sure it was. Yeah.
It probably. I mean, I
Yeah.
think the price was $1,500 for whatever it was because it had the price, and then you went all the way down the line and said $632 for shipping.
See, that's
So-
an eBay move. They'll do that on eBay. Like you'll think you found a deal and you're like, sweet.
Yeah, but no, this was Prime. This was on the Prime One. They were
Oh,
ordering
that's
it
on
from
Prime One,
Yeah,
yeah.
they were ordering from Prime One.
Yeah, they
So,
learned
I
that
mean-
off eBay.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, I've seen that on eBay too. Like they got a good price. Then you go down here $300 for the shipping. Like, yeah,
But you know why they try to do that on eBay? Because they try to get you on an impulse buy because you get so excited the price is
Yeah,
so
yeah.
low and you buy it now and then you
Yeah.
come down and you realize shipping's like $500.
Shipping's $1,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
people also on eBay, people also sell stuff. If they're selling something for $100, they make it like $100 shipping. So you
Oh,
think
yeah.
you're getting
Yeah, that's
something?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
that was what he said.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
we had
ridiculous.
seen those before.
But I mean, but the answer, I mean, the pieces are changing. 1/3 is becoming more in vogue now, and everything used to be 1/4. And
That's true.
now a lot of 1/10 scale pieces are becoming really, you know, Iron Studios does a good job with that. And like you said, the edition sizes are going down. So I mean, I don't know, man. It is changing, you know, but
I don't know how people find the room for that 1/3 stuff. I want
they're
to
huge. There's no way.
Like, and people collect them, and I'm like, all right, let's just say you got the money to collect it. What type of a house do you live in?
The Midwest.
You have to have like a 6,000 square foot house. My house
if you got basements,
If you're in the Midwest and you have a basement, then yeah, you could probably fit 1/3 in there.
But hey, I got a question though, because you say the edition sizes are going down. Do you think eventually that will flip the collecting market because things will be, you know, more desired because there's not as many? I think that'll raise the prices. I'm not saying like right now. Say a couple of years from now, if this becomes the norm where they're not making a lot. Do you think it'll flip it and make it more valuable?
It might.
Well, it depends though. But see,
or are there too many companies making?
It's so much of everything now. So it's like,
too many companies.
Yeah, I mean, think about over Thor's right shoulder is that the best Vader that's ever been made for the Empire Strikes Back look, but like at the same time, there's so many Vaders that are continuing to be made that at some point nobody's gonna want that. They're not gonna want to find that. They're just gonna go, I'll just get this one or I'll just get whatever. There's just so many now. It's like malls. Look how many malls are out now. It's crazy.
That's
so,
like I always liked that one that Thor had, but then the price of it in the aftermarket was so much. And I was just like, I'm not getting that.
Just get a different one.
One of the biggest issues I have with companies is I feel like a lot of companies are making the same thing right across the board.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're making, and I'll speak from more of an action figure perspective on this, and I will use Hot Toys as my example. To me, Hot Toys is becoming very Hasbro expensive. Like
I agree.
You're making every character based on every show that, to me, like, all right, so I know this is a Star Wars podcast and I'm a hardcore old school Star Wars guy. You guys know that, but I feel like the last few iterations of anything Star Wars related is so here today, gone tomorrow, and they're focusing on what's hot in Marvel right now. They're focusing what's hot in Star Wars right now. And they're not giving any of that nostalgia bait that Matt was talking about before. Like, I feel like collectors would love, or at least collectors like me would love, like Hot Toys to do like a Goonies line.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Something different. Yeah.
You're gonna get 12 Iron Men. You're gonna get the fucking chick from the new Star Wars show, the girl with the braids. You're gonna get every character from the Book of Boba Fett, and it's like it's not, it hasn't resonated enough and seeped into the heart of people to want to like have this obscure character that was the background of the Book of Boba Fett.
Actually, that's a great point. Like, you know, Captain Enoch, right? They made a figure of that. That's like $300.
Yeah.
But there's no like connection. Like if I was still collecting Hot Toys, I wouldn't even get that figure. I'm like, he had like what 10 seconds of screen time.
Yeah. Well, and think about it. They just now came out with a Solo figure after Solo's been come and gone for a long time. I like it. I like the movie, but like, you know, they just came out with this random figure. It's great. It looks great, but like
they're still waiting to release the Return of the Jedi version of Han Solo, right?
Yeah.
And they still haven't done the one Han Solo everyone wants, which is the one from Empire Strikes Back with the blue jacket. Still haven't done that.
True.
But you're gonna make all these other like just flash in the pan stuff, and I'm like, I just don't get it. It feels like they're flooding the market with this stuff.
But Rob, do you feel like, I mean, it's a good question. Do you feel like that's due to them coming out of the pandemic and feeling like, oh shit, we've got to make more so that we can survive? It seems like it's only recently that they've started to do this.
I don't know who their target audience is. Like, you're going to make a She-Hulk figure from the She-Hulk TV show, but you won't make like, I don't know. You got to give me a minute to think of like a character from a movie that like people actually like you know, a deluxe Indiana Jones set with the Ark or something. You
Oh
know?
sure.
yeah, that's a good one.
It's something that has a little bit of like nostalgia to it. Still kind of falls in that sci-fi action adventure IP shit. You
But
know?
I feel like it went from like very like unique things or things that they came out with that people were like, oh, this, I really want to get my hands on this thing, and there's very limited versions of them, amount of them, let's say, to just a fire hose.
Right.
And
yeah.
now I feel like it's literally a fire hose now. And I like PJ,
Yeah.
we talked to Nathan from the UK that collects hot toys.
Yeah, I
and
saw. Yeah,
he's like overwhelmed.
no,
Like you can see it in his face. It's like it's like he doesn't even know what to do with himself because there's so much shit coming out that what do you do? Like
You
Yeah.
where are
can't
you gonna
collect
put
them
'em?
all.
You
They're
go
not,
to
like,
you go to statues. It's like,
Yeah, and clones. They're coming out with clones and clones and clones, and it's like where do you put these damn things? Like it's
Yeah.
crazy. I just
yeah.
I don't know what to. I don't know why they're doing. They've changed that. That they
I
all
have
of
a
sudden-
thought. It could be like when you're saying some of these series. I wonder if they have like in their contract if they have to produce a certain amount from each Marvel show or Star Wars show, like because they want to also like, for instance, like Lucasfilm would want to use Hot Toys as a way to advertise
Mhm.
to
You think it's a
promote.
licensing
the
thing?
shows. Yeah, it could be.
Could be.
I'm just
I
saying,
don't
like,
know who got the money to dispose to 300. Now it's 253, 375 or some
Yeah.
shit on some of these friggin' things.
That's true.
And it's like, why do I not have a Pulp Fiction set? And I'm still on like my 10th, 5th to 30th Iron Man bullshit and
Yeah.
some, you know, the 15. And what's funny is that you see the people in these Facebook forums that are like, oh my God, it's the 15th version of Doctor Strange or Hawkeye. And I'm like, guys, really? You already own 7 iterations of the same.
love
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I love it.
You know, I don't get it. That's why I was when we were in the green room earlier, and I was like, I don't understand that you have to collect them all. I'd be the YouTuber going, don't collect this shit. Wait for something special to come out.
Yeah.
What kind of my shelves have a premium to them. When a figure comes in, the figure's got to go out.
Yeah.
You know, because there's just only so much room.
But you got to think though, Rob, like, and I think we mentioned this as well, that there's new collectors coming in all the time. And I think the disease we all have is you look at an empty shelf and you have to fill it.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
You just, for some reason, you look at something and you go,
Yeah,
yeah, but you know what I'm saying though? Like you look at an
I was
empty
like,
area.
yeah.
You
Oh,
look at an empty area and you're just like, that doesn't look right. Or if I take a picture of this and want to, get jerked off online, because of my collection, it's not going to look right. So like, I've got to fill this space. And I think we tend to fill these things with like stupid shit. Like we buy that. Some people buy that kind of stuff that just to fill space. And it's just so dumb because at some point you're going to get to the point where you're like, I have too much crap and I got to get rid of it. And it's not worth anywhere near what you paid for it. Like that sucks.
Yeah, and the thing too is that like I love the Hot Toys, right? And I still do. Like, don't get me wrong. I think I only have one
There's
more.
great products.
They do. They make
Great.
great products. I think the only thing I have left. I'm literally like, if you guys haven't seen it yet, I've been selling a lot of my Hot Toys, even like my Darkseid Anakin. I didn't want to even look at any artisan rooted hair edition. I'm like,
You're
fuck
getting
that.
you're
Like, I
getting
don't,
Blitzway Anakin though.
yeah, I'm getting Blitzway Anakin, but I'm
mean-
just saying, just looking at everything else, I'm like, oh my god, like,
Yeah.
it's just like if you buy like the non-rooted version, the non-artisan edition, you're like, oh wow, this is so cool, and then they just throw you like, throw a wrench in your excitement, and they go, oh, by the way, do you want the rooted version? We have it for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? You're like, well, okay. You're looking at the figure you just bought.
they're
You
like
spent
crack
$300.
dealers. It's like, hey, you want to try this crack for free?
Oh, yeah. But that's how they
Yeah,
get you
You
hooked.
like it? You like it?
Yeah,
I'll sell it to you now.
yeah. I mean,
just a little taste. I just need a little taste.
One thing
You
that
know-
drives me nuts is when companies will start something and then they never finish it. Like when Tweeterhead was doing the Superpowers line, and I was all in on that shit.
Yeah.
My nostalgia could begin and end with DC Superpowers figures. That was my shit when I was a kid, and I saw that they were doing the statues. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna have like 5 good guys over here and like 5 bad guys over there, and I had this whole setup thing going on. And then when they switched over to the different scale and the different look of the characters, and they weren't doing that no more, I was like, fuck it, I'm selling this one off. I'm going to cut it down to 5, and I'm just going to have that little area in my room for that, and that's it. I'm just going to have to be satisfied with that.
Dude, that happens all the time, though. Like,
Yeah.
I hear you. It sucks but think about what they do with the Mythos line. Like, the Mythos line I thought was fantastic, and then all of a sudden they've changed the scale, and they don't have the bases looking the same anymore. It's all completely different, and they had something good going.
Well, the first one was because of Disney. When Disney bought Star Wars, they stopped the Mythos line, and then that's why they stopped the original one.
And then they brought it back in a different way.
Yeah, and they brought it back.
It's just
Another thing that drives me nuts about the statue world is like they'll do like take the Ventress statue, right? The Mythos Ventress. Like
Thor is the only one.
I knew if I waited long enough, they were going to do that.
Oh man.
So
Yeah.
I think it looks like a great statue, right? Except 90% of the statue is the base.
Yeah.
And you want to charge so much X amount of dollars for this thing, and the whole statue is the base. And I'm like, well, if you just trim that down, by half, maybe we could trim a couple $100 off of that price. Perhaps.
Well, the thing too is that like they'll say, why don't you just, and by the way, the Ventress statue and the Maul statue is still available for pre-order in 1/5.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing too is that like I have both of them, and I'm looking at them right now. Like when they first released announced the quarter scale Ventress, I'm like looking at, I'm like, what the fuck?
And they light up, and the sabers light
And
up.
it
Yeah.
fucking-
Yeah.
Well, was that
Oh,
part of the
I'm
12
so
days of sideshow bullshit?
angry.
'Cause I was
Bend
like,
over,
why are
boys.
these statues again.
Yeah.
Is there a different size now?
I mean, I think what's up, Rob?
During the 12 days of sideshow, I remember one of the reveals being the Ventress statue again, and the Maul statue. I was like, didn't I just see these things?
Yeah,
How are
same-
these?
same shit.
It's
Yeah.
laziness, man. It's lazy. It's just basically they have the file. They just have to enlarge it to like 1/4 scale.
Oh, so it's an upscale. They just made it bigger.
Yeah.
With light
And
up
light up the
features.
sabers.
Light up features.
sabers.
Yeah.
Those
Like,
are honestly, PJ, those are 2 statues that if we have an earthquake eventually, which I'm sure will happen at some point, those I hope get decimated. And because I just don't give a shit about them anymore. Like I don't care about
Oh
those
my God.
pieces, and I can't sell them. Good luck
Yeah,
selling
no,
those things. Nobody wants
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could trade
'Cause-
out to
them. Probably, I'd probably
Dude,
trade
yeah,
for a
yeah,
first quarter
Did I miss
stormtrooper.
something? What's up with the hate? There's like an inside joke going on here with the Ventress and the.
They came out in 5th scale, right?
Right.
And then so now they turn around and bring them out in quarter scale.
Yeah,
And the sabers, the ones on the 5th scale, the sabers don't light up. On the quarter scale, the sabers light up, and everybody's pissed off. Like, well, why'd you do that? I've always wanted it to be quarter scale. So like, I
Yeah,
got out of the
right.
5th scale, line, and I was hoping they would do the original Vader in quarter
Yeah,
scale,
again.
but they didn't. But because they did the original Kenobi, but they're making this Ventress in quarter
which
scale.
that Kenobi does look good.
It doesn't. No,
that-
I'm saying it doesn't. I was just
it
hoping they
doesn't
make the Vader too.
Yeah.
But they
But
made
no,
this fake
for me, it's,
lighting sabers on fire crap. I don't want
yeah,
that.
I know. For me, it's more so. I just like the original line. I just think the original
Yeah, I do
Ventress
too.
line is amazing.
Absolutely.
And those don't really match in my
No, they
opinion.
don't.
They just don't.
Yeah.
That's good.
No, but I just feel like, for me, like collecting, there has to be like you have to retain its value. Yeah, I get it. Like, oh yeah, you kept it for 2 or 3 years, and if you bought for $800 and you sell for 400, well, you spent 400 like renting it out. Like, I'm like, first of all, this is not a fucking car. Right? It's not a car like where I'm using it. It's literally just sitting on my shelf collecting dust.
Yeah.
Literally collecting dust. So again, it's one of those things where, okay, I'm not expecting it to, get my money back, but I'm not expecting to lose like 80% of what I paid for
Right.
to sell it, because then I can't, it's an expensive hobby. And, we got kids, you got family, you got bills, we got mortgages and stuff like that. And the thing too is that, like, if you're able to sell it for what you paid for, guess what? You're going to use that money to buy another statue, because now you're not going to get in trouble with your significant other right? You're not be like, oh, honey, I charged $800 for this Mythos statue, right? Instead of like, hey, you bought another statue? Yeah.
Well,
I
and
sold my
PJ,
statue to buy this one, and everyone is happy.
and PJ, sometimes the money isn't even. It's. I think once you've collected for a while, it's the space that's even sometimes more valuable, right? Like,
Yeah.
because I know, like Jason, I talked to Jason a lot about this. Like, he's got shit sitting in his closet that his wife's like, get this out of here. Like, what do you have this box in here for? And he's like trying to, he's trying to get stuff out, and I get it. Like, space is super valuable, for everybody.
Yeah,
I think,
absolutely.
especially if you collect. And so, like, sometimes it's just about that. Like, I just got to find space for
Yeah,
this other thing.
Next thing you know, you'll be throwing extra figures in boxes for people.
Exactly.
It's like, hey, what the hell?
Exactly. Just take
He's
it.
like, man,
Hey, honey, I'm cleaning house.
Just take it.
I'm helping the community and cleaning the house.
Yeah, get
Yeah.
it 2 for 1. You know?
Are you guys mostly statue collectors now?
I
I'm
am
afraid those
now.
guys-
Yeah. I got out of the Hot Toys game, man. It was getting, like you said, like they were making figures, like they were making every single character from the show. They were making
Yeah.
way too many clones because, originally, Rob and everyone knows this, like even Matt knows this, that I was collecting Marvel, some DC, some
Yeah.
Star Wars, because you were able to. Then they start putting out more figures, more Star Wars figures. I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna just collect Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Then when you just stick to strictly Star Wars, then they start making Bad Batch, Clone Wars,
Well, remember,
Rebels.
PJ, remember, this is when nothing there's hardly anything coming out for Star Wars. Remember, don't you remember back
Yeah,
a while ago? It was like hard to find something that was coming out for Star Wars that was really good.
Mhm.
And Marvel stuff was all over the place. Like, they were coming out with Marvel shit, like the stuff behind you that is just ridiculously good. Like, especially Sideshow, I thought did really killed the Marvel game for a long time.
yeah.
So, like, I remember there wasn't a whole lot of Star Wars. Like, there was times we couldn't talk about anything. I mean, it was really only Hot Toys that was coming out with some Star Wars stuff here and there. Like, some of the Sideshow stuff that they came out with was dog shit. Like some of that stuff was bad. They've gotten a lot better. So there's way more stuff coming out now. And I think that's why I feel like that's a lot of the reason why you just got into mainly collecting Star Wars. I mean, there's a lot more to collect.
Yeah. But the thing too is that even now, it's just like I feel like, why are you gonna release a heavy Mando that was on the first season of Mandalorian?
Sure.
And just because he got featured in Book of Boba with an extra shield, why are re-releasing it again?
It's got that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's just like now you're killing the market, you're killing the aftermarket. And again, you need that in every collecting hobby. You need that, whether you collect stamps, whether you collect coins, whether you collect anything. You need like a good like aftermarket to
Yeah, sure.
Well, that was going to be my next question to all you guys, is even for the statue guys, how do you wrap your heads around going, well, I really like this character version, statue, hot toy, whatever, and then, well, for the hot toy, Matt, I know you used to do hot toys. I don't know if you still do. How do you wrap your head around going, well, I really want this Doctor Strange, but I know when the next movie comes out, it's gonna be another one, and then when the Endgame version comes out, it's another one.
Well, we never had that problem really with Star Wars because they weren't doing that. Like Marvel, they were doing that like crazy with Marvel. I agree with you. I think it's freaking ridiculous. Like they came out with the Guardians of the Galaxy Star-Lord, and then the next movie comes out and you get 2.0, and it's like he looks exactly the same. Like he's got the same everything. They just put a different like belt on him or something, and like people love that shit. I don't get it. I don't the Iron Man thing blows my mind. The Iron Man thing is the ultimate thing that I don't understand, is the versioning of Iron Man and constantly coming out with all these different things that like I don't get it, but somebody does.
The Iron
Somebody
Man, they
find
went
him.
crazy because they would do like every single one, and then they would do a battle damage.
Yeah. And sometimes
it's true.
And Anthony,
True.
sometimes they would also do a plastic version of one of them.
Oh,
Yes.
Then they would come out with another version. It's exactly the same, but it's freaking
Die
die.
cast.
So, dude, they went. I mean,
well, they did that with Mandalorian too.
yeah, they did. They did.
You know,
Yeah.
like, oh, here's the Mandalorian with all these
Yeah,
accessories,
here's
and
the
then next you
Beskar
know,
one. Here's the super duper shiny Beskar one.
here's the chromed version
Yeah,
with
this is
the
chrome
with the
plated.
port, and then
People
and the
want the
thing too is
new.
that they did that when it hasn't even sold out yet, or people didn't even get theirs yet. They were
Yeah.
still waiting from Sideshow, and that's why, you know, for me, like, you know, with the Ventress and the Maul, like, great, you know, great for Thor. He's gonna get a quarter scale Ventress,
Yeah.
but why are you hurting your own like stock?
It's
You still
interesting, yeah.
have Asajj Ventress on pre-order, the 1/5 scale version.
That shit's gonna be buy one get one free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
They
you
were
got,
doing that shit this past year with the Halloween spooktacular thing.
oh my
Where they were like,
gosh.
"Oh, if you spend $300, we'll give you like
A 2-pack.
3 packs." and stuff,
No,
you
but I have never seen anything like that. Literally, the how many years have I been collecting? Almost 10 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've never seen Sideshow go, oh, by the way, you spend $300 for one figure, but we're gonna give you 2 free figures.
Yeah.
What?
If you spend $300, we're going to give you $800 in figures. Like, that's not a good business practice.
It's gonna be sitting on the shelf.
Yeah.
know
They're
what
gonna
that
have to
tells
give them,
me?
they're gonna have to give them away.
Yeah.
Unless it's a figure that I absolutely am over the moon for, and I mean, like, it would have to be like a new version of like the Christopher Reeve Superman or something, like, for me to really go nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, every time something comes out, I say to myself, I'll wait till Spooktacular.
Hmm.
I kind of
Yeah, no,
years.
actually, that's what I'm doing now. I'm not even buying like anything. Like, I'm like, I'll wait for, you know, Spooktacular.
There'll be
Maybe
a
they'll have-
sale on this. There'll be a sale on that. Whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Or
The-
wait 3 weeks, and then you can go on Facebook and make your own price.
Basically.
One thing that I have been doing, and I remember a while back, PJ, when we first started doing this YouTube thing, you had mentioned don't talk, and I'll cut it off immediately, about third-party figures. Are we
Yeah.
not doing that here?
No, I don't care. Go ahead.
So Mars Toys has been doing the Batman 66 line, and they're doing an incredible job with the Cesar Romero figure. Was out of this world. I just got the Frank Gorshin Riddler 2-pack, and the 2-pack was like $260, and it comes with a shit ton of accessories, 2 Riddler figures, and granted it's a knockoff, but you know, Hot Toys started off doing knockoffs and unlicensed shit too,
Hmm.
before they became, you know,
Well,
the big thing they are.
Jazz
today.
Inc. Look at Jazz Inc. Jazz Inc. was same.
Yeah,
Same
Jazz
thing.
Inc. too.
Same thing. So I'm doing those figures now because I'm a nostalgia nerd for the 66 Batman stuff, and the prices aren't out of control. Granted, they're not paying licensing fees, but the licensing fees for DC isn't that expensive to begin with. Marvel is out of control. Star Wars is out of control. DC is not that expensive to license stuff from. But they're doing an excellent job. So I've been kind of pivoting that way too. If I'm not doing the occasional mezco here and there, that's as far as my Hot Toys collecting goes. Because look, if they're not going to put out the fucking figures that I want to buy, and these other companies are, I mean, here's another example: Back to the Future. They never made a Biff figure. How do you not make a Biff figure?
Crazy.
Right.
A Biff figure. It's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. With a pile of manure next to him. I mean, honestly, it is crazy that they make the giant cars. The giant cars. They just now started making the what's it called? The third movie stuff.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
a couple things from the third movie. But yeah, why they don't make any of the other characters? It's crazy, and I agree with you. It's nuts.
Well, and you know, can I say something too? Like, you know, you have other like companies too, like J&D that makes the statues, and now they're making figures. But when you look at the pricing of them, they're like $1,000.
Yeah, it's like InArt is notorious for that shit, charging. Like,
You got to be kidding me! Like, who the hell's gonna buy that?
Yeah, but that's why Hot Toys.
$1,000 for a 1/6.
Yeah,
But that's why Hot Toys has done the artisan thing, and you know can charge more for their artisan whatever they have because they feel like they have to like compete in some way, right? With that.
yeah.
So yeah,
But it's crazy too because you know, like with the Dark Side Anakin, I usually if I were to sell this like 2 years ago, I'll like my phone will be blowing up.
yeah, totally.
Dude, no one's really hit me up for Anakin.
It's crazy.
It's like quiet. It's like crickets.
because everyone knows that another one's coming in any day now.
crazy.
Yeah,
So it's not
but
like, oh my God, we had to wait 3 years or 4 or 5 years for another Anakin figure. It's like,
Yeah.
they just
But-
recycle the same figures and characters over and over again.
So true.
And the thing too is now, like, it's really forced me to be like, what Thor always says is patient now, right? When it comes to products and statues and figures or whatever the case is. Like, it's not like how it was back then. You could buy anything, and then if you need to sell it because you need the money or need to make room, you can easily sell it. Now it's like you'd be lucky if you sold it.
Yeah.
You got to
Right?
make sure you really want it. Whatever it is you buy, you got to make sure you're really in it for this figure or
Mhm.
statue or whatever the case may be, because chances are if you have to get rid of it or make room or something else, you're going to be taking a hit.
Yeah,
Oh,
or you're gonna be forced to keep it.
Yeah.
Or I mean, really, honestly, guys, in my opinion, the best way to do it is if you know you're not going to keep something, sell it while there's hype for it. As in, like,
Yeah.
if you get something in and there's still hype for this thing, and you know you're not going to keep this thing, or it's going to like sit on in a box somewhere, then just do yourself a favor and get rid of it while there's people that want it. Because at some point, you're not going to be able to sell the damn thing. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm just, I'm curious to see where, like, as companies starts to, unfortunately file for bankruptcies and things like that, like, who's going to be left standing after the dust has settled? To me, I feel like PCS is doing such a great job. They're
Yeah,
not really
Good job.
like overwhelming you with all these like different, products.
But they only have the 1/3 license though. For
I know,
Star
but
Wars stuff. I mean, that's tough.
which is which is not too bad. I mean, they're making that Vader bust, which is amazing, and they're doing like some of the Ninja Turtles line, and they're doing like really nice stuff, like things that there are not the norm, right? They're not making another Iron Man, they're not making another, I don't know, Captain America.
Well, and their
They're-
mall looks incredible. The mall looks
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
but they're doing like
Sure.
Ghostbusters, some like what Rob said, nostalgia,
Sure.
right? And
Rocky was something that's like,
Smart.
yeah,
Gladiator, like,
Yep.
and the base on
Oh, they're
that
doing
Gladiator
Gladiator?
is like,
Yeah.
they're doing Glad, and the base on that thing
It's
is
good, too.
actually real sand, right?
Yeah. It's sand.
Yeah.
Or it's made to look like sand, but they also, I think they give you a bag of sand that you actually like lay out on the base, which is interesting. It
And
does look
PCS
good though.
is doing that?
Yeah, PCS.
PCS. But see, that's something like I want out of a company. Not
Yeah.
some company just trying to milk me for my money. Like someone that's actually doing some really cool things, nostalgia, innovative things. That's why for me, I would support that company. Not like something like someone like Sideshow where they're okay, here comes you like that quarter scale line? Oh, here, let me dumb it down and make it like a 1/5 scale line for you of the same characters that we just released.
Yeah.
Like, what? I don't know. It's just
Well, that's why like there's certain things that even within what's being sold that's I guess popular these days. Like even like when they come out with like a bunch of aliens, right? For the Alien series, like they always make these aliens and they make these predators and all this stuff, and which is great. I know people love them, but I love when they come out with like a Ridley.
Yeah.
Space Marine, something.
Yes, something different that can, like that's what I want. That's
Like,
what I
why
want.
do we not have a Hicks yet or a
Yeah.
Duck Predator? Like, what do we
I've
have?
always said they need to make the Predator team. All of them. That would be
Like,
amazing.
what are we
Yeah.
doing here, guys?
Yeah.
Or like the team from Alien 2, right? Like the
Or
aliens,
them
maybe.
too,
like
yeah.
like that, like
Yeah.
some of those.
give
guys
me
would be great.
Bill Paxton's freaking
Exactly,
character.
exactly.
Game over, man.
Game over. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great. But
Yeah. It's just like I
You
don't know.
can't tell me that the 7th version of Hawkeye is going to sell more than like
Yeah.
even a Godfather figure. Like when Dan Toys made the Godfather 6 scale figure, that shit
Well,
sold.
they got some Godfather statues. They got a few Godfather.
They got a few, yeah.
it's a good question though. What Anthony was mentioning before is what are their hands tied on some of this stuff? Like, do they have a choice, or is it less than we? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
are they even?
They
able to-
promise them. Do
They
they,
might
promise
be obligated to do a certain amount.
They
of
very
things for
much
each
might be
year.
obligated when a movie comes out to go. We've got to put this thing out, right?
Yeah.
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 They might not have a choice on some of it, but you're right. It would be nice to see them extend do more inside of the other nostalgic pieces.
But a lot of it's like a cash grab too, because like when they do the clone troopers and the stormtroopers, or even the multiple Hawkeyes, they've already got the tooling and everything for it. They've got the sculpts. They just
got
do a little
everything for it,
different
sure.
paint job. They might have to come up with a little outfit or throw an accessory, but that's quick money for Hot Toys.
It's true.
And that's something they can produce quickly. So they probably try to get it out very fast and like strike while the iron's hot, because they're not going to sell them out, 2 years after the movie's gone.
You're probably right, even right about that with statues. I'm sure with statues they have some stuff that they can reuse here and there, or at least gets them almost finished with something before. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and
you could
crazy
probably
is, like-
blame like the different collectors, because like they were making all those Iron Man because everybody was buying them.
But 100%, somebody's buying that shit for sure.
But it just with the edition sizes being so small now, like when I look at Sideshow and I see those Funko Pop,
he's probably right.
Yeah.
it's probably right. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the last two companies are going to be Funko and Lego.
It's still
Lego.
They're going
Lego.
strong. They're
No,
going
Lego is
strong.
always going to be strong. But the one thing about Lego, can I tell you?
Lego's expensive, dude. Holy shit.
It's
Yeah.
expensive, but you know what? They discontinue the product.
Right.
And it's gone.
Yeah,
wait,
once
wait
it's
till
gone.
wait till they realize that people will buy it if they reissue it.
No, but they won't. Once
Yeah,
it's
they
done,
will.
they
They'll
do
just
it
make
in the
it a little
other
bit.
stuff?
They'll make it a little
They'll-
bit bigger.
They'll adjust it, but it's actually smart of Lego to do that, because it makes it more special. I would say.
Yeah,
Um,
but the thing
You'll
is,
get
for
something
example,
like they just released the Jabba Sail Barge USC, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like or UCS, whatever it is, and it's like $500. It's enormous, this friggin' thing.
Yeah.
Grayson's on my ass to pick that up, as we got into Legos over the last few
it's
years.
great.
And
yeah,
but like it's something like the Jaws that they just came out with, the Jaws set, that's not getting reissued. That's
Sure.
niche, And once that's gone, it's going to shoot up in price. Every one of these friggin' things do. I bought the Batman Returns shadow box thing, and within a year it was in and out. They shelved it immediately, and I was like, I had it, I built it, I liked it, and I was like, this is taking up too much room. Let me just get rid of it. I took like $100 hit on it. I bought it for $400. I sold it for $300. I didn't give a fuck. I enjoyed building it, and then the thing is like $700 now, and it was like in and out as fast as it came in. It's as fast as it went out.
well, and that's the thing. That's why I like what they're doing, is because now you're having some sort of value for your collectible.
Right.
And the UCS, I bought the UCS at right for I think $700. And I was like, oh yeah, this is exciting. I'm gonna put it together. Oh my gosh, like I felt like I was like Matt when he bought the Millennium Falcon. Like I didn't know where to start. I felt like I was gonna do this for
Dude, I had
So-
to make the same pieces over and over and over.
yeah,
and
I'm like,
over
I don't
and
have
over
the
again.
I don't think I have the time or patience to
Crazy.
put this together, right? And the thing too is that like finally I'm like, I'm gonna get rid of this thing.
Mhm.
Then I was looking on eBay, they were selling for over $1,000.
Yeah, it's
over
crazy.
$1,200
I heard about that.
because they discontinued it.
Mhm.
Guess what? I sold it.
Hell yeah.
I didn't care.
Dang.
$1,200.
100%, dude.
Oh yeah, I
That's
sold.
an
I'm
easy,
like,
that's
fuck.
an easy
I was
one,
like, I'm
bro.
not putting this
Amazing
together.
how
Fuck.
something as simple and silly as Lego is obviously over the course of this conversation is a
Yeah.
better investment than a fucking Hot Toy. Meanwhile,
I know.
Hot Toy is like legit.
Think
art.
about
Look
think
at it.
about this though, guys. Think about what Hot Toys and some of these companies don't have. Like Hot Toys, all these companies are selling to people like us. Lego, yeah, they have stuff that they sell to people like us, but their bread and butter, they're selling to freaking parents are buying this shit for their kids, like just random sets of whatever, right? So they make so much money on all of the other things. They don't have to rely on Star Wars and Harry Potter, and they
Sure.
make so much shit. So like what Hot Toys doesn't have, they gotta pump out the license shit, and they gotta pay that license, and it's a different ball game. I feel like altogether.
Yeah.
Is Gentle Giant part of Diamond?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's okay. So they're going under too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Supposedly.
another thing I'm surprised Hot Toys hasn't. You don't really see a lot of stuff out, and I know that InArt's doing it now. Just recently, and I mean literally in like the last 2 weeks, was the first time I ever saw any Harry Potter movies. My daughter made me sit down and watch them with her, they were pretty good. You know, I see why they're such a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm fucking surprised Hot Toys hasn't taken a crack at
Yeah.
that IP. That's almost like a gold mine in and of itself, because I know that the fandom is like a rabbit.
It is weird. It is weird.
Yeah.
Because
But-
who has that? Is it?
Well, I think it's in art and now, and I think Asmus. No, Star Ace.
Yeah.
Oh,
one of them.
those.
One of them.
Maurice makes the worst fucking figures.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they're
want
like
their shit. They came out with an Adam West like Batman, but like the Bruce Wayne version. And I was like, oh, I got to get this. And I saw it in person, and I was like, what the?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm curious to see like how everything shapes up. I feel like we're a lot of us made some really good points, and I feel like we are pretty much the our generation is probably going to be the ones that's the last people, like the last generation to collect these statues, right? Because I've showed a lot of my statues to my kids, and they're just not interested.
Yeah.
They rather be on electronics. They like the games, even with Pokemon. But Pokemon's, that will always attract a lot of kids because it's simple, it's cheap, it's cards.
Yeah.
But in terms of statues, we're it. I think that's
Yeah. I
As
think
far
it's
as consumers go, yeah, because like even like my son's friends come over, like I'll have like the football team come over and they watch like the UFC fights or some shit, and they go downstairs and they see my collection. Just like my shit looks like all your stuff, pretty much. When in my basement, and they're like, "Wow, this is crazy!" Like, Coach Rob's got this crazy setup and these great toys, and they look at it and they oogle over it a little bit, and then it ends.
Yeah.
They don't have any. It's just like, all right, like see you later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll be on TikTok. They'll be on Instagram. They'll be on the phone. They'll be on video games. That's it. But
Yeah,
they
it's
won't be
probably
like,
the
"Hey,
difference-
Dad, can you buy me this? I want this in my room."
I'll tell you what, though, Grayson does get pissed when I'm like, all right, great, we got to make room. So this guy's going, He's not gonna be able to go. It's going to my fucking room. That's where it's going.
But see,
Yeah.
this is a good argument, and I say this a lot. This is a good argument for collect what you like to collect, and don't worry about what other people think, because it doesn't freaking matter. Nobody gives a shit about what you collect, but you. Nobody cares. Like nobody's coming into your room going, "Wow, look at all this awesome shit." Like that hardly ever happens. So
Mhm.
just collect things that you want to collect and you enjoy.
Yeah.
And
But that's
it.
the thing, because you get a lot of people. Well, if you get piece A and piece B, and they ask people which one would you buy?
Right.
Nobody cares what you. What do
Nobody
you? Which one do
cares.
you want?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I've got
Exactly.
people that come over, like other adults. Sometimes they'll come, like the parents of the kids that are hanging out at the house or whatever, and they'll come downstairs on like a holiday and be like, "Yo, what new piece you got?" And looking around, and I'll have somebody go, "Yo, you got the DeLorean and the Marty and the Doc, right? Hot Toys," and they're like, "That's incredible," and they won't give a shit about anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another guy will come down and go, "Yo, you got Bill and Ted?" Like, "Yo, that's crazy."
Mhm.
They don't give a shit about anybody else. Another guy will come down and go, "Yo, you got the original Star Wars cast. That's dope." Or the 4 Ghostbusters.
Yep.
That's dope. But nobody's like, people just like what they like.
Yeah.
So
And they,
Yeah. Well.
and nobody cares how you display something or whatever. And that's all I'm saying is like a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people start collecting and they get into this like collecting for putting a picture up on Facebook or on Instagram or whatever. And gosh, get out of that as quick as you can, because that's just not gonna last,
Yeah.
It's not the way to collect.
And then what too is that like like the people that do come over and they do check out your stuff. Like I'm telling you, my mom comes over and she probably thinks I'm a psychopath.
Yeah, I know. A lot of
Like you're still collecting. The one thing she tells me, you're still collecting toys.
yeah.
You're still buying toys.
Yeah.
Is this a good example for your kids? I'm like,
Well,
oh
listen,
my god,
if-
forget
if-
it.
If
Smoke
you
a
think
giant
that this-
put me in another frame of mind, or I could just stare at my collection and be like, "God, this shit makes me happy."
Yeah.
if
So
you
at least
think
I'm not
this
doing
is
it
expensive,
summer.
Sean and I have a friend, and we rode BMX for our whole lives. And there's a whole community of people that they were kind of like the guys that maybe weren't that good, and then they want to go replicate all these bikes from the 80s, and like that stuff's crazy expensive.
Yeah.
And there's like a couple of like companies that like people actually making like replicas of certain different parts, and like these guys are going, I don't know, like a certain rider that was on a certain company, and they'll be looking at all these pictures, and making like the number plate and putting all the stickers on the bike. Like there's companies that are making stickers. And if you got some of the original parts and they can clean them up, like they're worth thousands. Like,
Well, it's
like
what's interesting is that you, especially if you're into any other hobbies, you start to realize fairly quickly that none of this is special to Star Wars collecting. Like people across all kinds of hobbies have the same exact conversations. You know, just how to display something, or I don't have any room anymore, or this is getting too expensive. It's like across everything. Like it's just the way it is, man. It's the same conversations everywhere.
Yeah, my friend he'll send me a link all the time, and he's like, "Hey, you remember that Hut stem had? Like, we were 16," and I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude, people they'll pay like $1,000 for that right now." And certain parts are just unbelievable. And we threw the stuff away.
Yeah.
We got the stuff back then, and we just threw it away.
Yeah, and and the thing too is, Matt, you're right. You have to love the shit that you collect. You have to. I mean, I admire Thor because he's been having that same. Well, I mean, pretty much, little, couple statues, interchanged here and there, but in the most part, his collections has been consistent.
Yeah, solid display. Yeah,
3 years for 4 years, 4 years, right? And that's he's probably, I'm looking at him. I was like, damn, Thor must be in like Zen right now. He's like I'm sorry, he's like a freaking Sith Lord, just like meditating in Korriban or something, because like he doesn't need anything else. He's got everything that And the thing too is that like a lot of us get caught up in, all right, I gotta get the new shiny thing, or oh my gosh, like, oh man, I buy this. I wonder what my friends are gonna say, or what people are gonna say on Facebook. When no one really gives a shit.
No one,
like
cares,
you said,
dude. Nobody cares.
Like no one's coming. I mean, I don't know, but that's just me. Like I think now it's
why should their opinion matter? This is for you.
It's for you, exactly. You should be happy.
I think I'm down to, besides the whatever the fuck's 1/6 scale superpowers thing I was mentioned earlier. I have 3 statues left. I have the Wonder Woman that I got through Thor. I just couldn't get myself to get rid of that. I had the Trinity at one point, and I was I'm fucking keeping Wonder Woman. And I have 2 statues from the they're I guess they're premium formats. They're from that Court of the Dead shit.
Yeah.
I got the girl that she's like holding up.
Oh, I love that one. Yeah.
I got that one, and I got the girl that looks like the Knights Templar.
I like that one too. Yeah.
And I don't give a shit what any people don't know what the fuck that is when they come over, and they're like,
sure.
Those are pretty cool medieval statues. They'll say, and I don't give a fuck. I love those statues. That's
a great job on those statues.
Need like. If I wanted to be cool, I would have a Darth Vader and a Superman, but
they got some new ones that's pretty cool too. That they made. Yeah.
What's the Court of the Dead?
Yeah, because they stopped for a while, right?
They did. They made this succubus one, and they got this vampire chick. They made some pretty sick ones.
And I saw the vampire chick, she's holdling the other.
Holding the chick, yeah.
No, that's a pretty dope statue.
Yeah, it is. They got the succubus one is good too.
Yeah. And the thing too is that, like, for me, like, I've actually really scaled back a lot. Like, obviously I'm not picking up any Hot Toys, and then like even with the statues, right? Like, thank goodness, like, they're not releasing it like every month or every 2 weeks there's a new statue. Be like once every, like how many Star Wars statues did Sideshow pump out last year?
Right.
It's not like they're not pumping out like 20. They're it's like 5 or 10, not even 5, like maybe 4 or 5. But it's kind of like kept me, in check is what I'm trying to say. And I like that. Like, there's other things that like catch my eye, like whether it be like, oh wow, look at that Jungle Predator, but damn, $3,000 for
it's freaking ridiculous.
As much as I love Predator, I mean, what I'm thinking in the future, I'm gonna pick it up, I'm gonna put it together, I'm gonna be so excited for the first 2 or 3 months I own it, and then what?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big statue guy, and I'll go as far as to say that if you see something that's really dope and it's in like the 500 or less range, which doesn't exist anymore, this is how far I'm going back. Which actually ain't even that far because we spoke. That's how we opened up this conversation about how things just tripled in price overnight practically.
Some of the older ones you can get like on eBay. You can get some of the older ones in that range.
So, but for that, it's one thing. But when you start getting into the thousands,
yeah.
unless it's like you're like, yo, I'm just gonna have this thing,
Mm-hmm.
or you're the world's biggest Predator fan, or you're the world's biggest Christopher Reeve fan, and I'm gonna get the $3,000 shit that looks just like him. It's like a mini Madden Tucson's. You're getting into like when it's 500 or less, it's like a heavy grocery bill. But when it gets up into the thousands, it's like, yo, this is like more like double. This is like 2-3 months worth of car payments we're talking about.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
My mortgage is $1,150 a month. You know, like we're talking about like more than my fucking mortgage to live in my house. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like, dude,
Well,
It's crazy when you put it in that perspective.
and you got to think that.
Yeah.
Now,
once
what are you
get up
doing,
into
Rob?
that-
Thank you.
Once you get into that level of cost as well, you're talking about really a lot of times you're talking about really large pieces that some of them you're going to be married to, right? Some of them you probably can't get rid of. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, look at some of these Regal Robot pieces, PJ, like the Wampa bust, like the thing that you put on, the giant Wampa you put on your wall. It's like, dude, how are you going to sell that? If you
many
have
other
to sell it?
people
Like,
want the giant wampa.
right, it's just and it's crazy looking, it's beautiful, but it's like crazy looking, right? Like
Yeah.
there's the Tauntaun
Yeah, and are
bust,
you
like,
willing to take a bath on that one?
exactly, you would have to, you'd think, and that's why it's like, and then all of a sudden you got to turn that around and ship it to somebody, and it's just,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
geez.
and but the thing too is that even with something like that, right? You kind of have to look at yourself, look at your finances and your, how much you make a year and, like your responsibilities and go, you know what? I don't think this was made for me.
Sure.
And
Well,
say
space-
like it's
space is a
probably
big-
made for someone who has like a little bit, probably doesn't have
basement.
kids or basement or more room or maybe making more money than I am.
I
I know it's like a hard truth to face, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's true because why are you going to spend $5,000 on a Wampa bust, right? And then sacrifice what? What are you sacrificing to get that? If you're not like in that bracket of making that kind of money, but which is okay. And I think for me, I've come to a realization like, listen, all right, I made some really crazy purchases. Some of them like, damn, I bought like a Rancor for $3,000.
Yeah.
But then I realized later on, I'm like, damn, I haven't bought a new TV in a very long time.
right? Yeah, exactly.
But you got a Rancor.
But I got a Rancor.
You got a Rancor.
But now I bought a TV because I haven't been buying that much, a really nice one. And then not only am I enjoying it, my family is enjoying it. We get to watch movies in a nice,
You
clear.
could watch Star Wars in the fucking Rancor on your giant.
Exactly.
There you go.
Hey,
Yeah.
kids. Sorry I couldn't buy a TV, but let's watch this Rancor in the shelf for the next
Right.
2 hours.
Matt, you
So
talk
I'm-
about being married to something like so. I have that life size.
Yeah.
Right? How the fuck would I ever ship that?
Oh yeah, no.
No, I was just about to
You
say,
don't.
what about that Infinity Studios life-size Balrog head?
Yeah.
Ain't no way you can get rid of it. I don't know if y'all
No
ever
way.
I mean, this thing is gigantic.
You have to chop it up into pieces and send it to somebody.
Yeah,
It-
it's huge. Ain't no way you can sell that.
Again,
I'll tell you
there's-
what, though, Anthony, that life-size Han jet is fucking awesome. So it's like
I made it.
that's different. That's so fun to me. That's just so
Yeah.
fucking iconic that it's like, all right,
Yeah.
this dude's got
Yeah.
literally Han Solo and carbonite.
Well, and again, that's all to say. It's okay if you get a piece that you're going to keep forever and it's big. That's fine. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying that like,
Oh no,
gotta
but
keep
it
that
is
in your
something
head.
that people could definitely think about.
yeah,
Like-
dude, you gotta
Like I
think
was
about
looking
this
for one for about a year. It was something I really wanted, and I was like, at the time the show was like, it was probably close to $8-9 grand, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I found
Yeah.
one. It was a guy that had one in Florida that would be
Mhm.
like freight shipped. It was already he had made it from scratch. He wanted like 2,500. It was going to be 2,500 to get it here.
stuff. Jeez.
So I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
that's $5,000.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
nuts.
one day,
Let's do U-Haul, baby.
yeah. And then one day,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you how I got like so. This guy in Atlanta had basically made the routed out frame of it,
Hmm.
and he had the Han cast, and he gave up. He didn't have the skill set to finish it. I bought it from him for $700.
Wow.
I had a friend that lived in Atlanta, and his girlfriend lived in North Carolina. And I was like, Nick, can you go? If I pay for it, will you pick it up next time you come through? I'll go out to I-95 and meet you.
Jeez.
And so
It's a good friend.
I did that, strapped it on the back of my truck, drove it an hour and a half back to the beach, and then I worked on it for a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
that's a good story. That's something that you'll actually want to keep.
Yeah,
Which
and
is
the-
worthwhile.
like I couldn't get rid of it at all.
Yeah.
Like there's just no way.
yeah,
It means far more to me than any statue I've ever built.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. Like Sean just moved, and I made one for his door.
Yeah.
Because I already knew how to do it. So I made one for his door. He bought the cast. I did it. So it was a 32-inch door at his old house. He moved and he was like, after he moved, he was like, dude, that door's 28 inches. And I was,
Yeah. Han's still sitting in storage right now.
I was
Oh,
like,
no.
and I was like, dude, we got two options. We either take it apart, redo it on a 28-inch door, or we open up your door and make your door now 32
your
inches.
Door bigger. Jeez.
Right.
That's coming.
And that was the plan.
We're doing it.
John would rather change his house.
I am.
To
I
put his
actually
collectibles.
I am.
I came over and looked
Crazy.
at it, and I was like, "Yeah, we got plenty of room. We can do this. We'll just go buy a new door, and we'll just basically cannibalize it, and then we'll put this one up because
Mhm.
it opened
Crazy, dude.
left-handed, and now it's going to be right-handed or something like that." And we're standing there in the doorway, and we look down, and he had already got new carpet, and he says, "There's
Wow.
going to be a gap," and I was like, "Motherfucker!"
well,
Like if we
yeah,
had about this beforehand, but there's no way he could get rid of it. There's no
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not. We're gonna widen that door. Honestly, that's one of my favorite pieces too. It's like, no, we're gonna widen the door just to fit Han in there.
That's funny, dude.
Yeah.
yeah,
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
it is. Well, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, which is a good point. That's why I like Thor's, code. Thor's
Yeah.
code of be patient. So, piggybacking off what Anthony was saying about his Han Solo and Carbonite, I was able to snag one, a sideshow one, the life size one,
Yep.
for $3,000. Those things cost like 75.
Steal.
Fucking
Steal.
steal of a price. The guy
Yep.
was local. He freaking drove
Yeah.
it to my house.
There you
I
go.
was like, dude, I paid him in cash. Well,
DoorDash,
not
dude.
cash. Well, like
Crazy.
freaking through PayPal. Dude, it was like I had to. As much as I was like, damn, where am I gonna fucking put this thing? But $3,000 for that, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna
It probably
room.
would have been $1,000 to get it shipped to you.
Oh yeah,
If
absolutely.
you were buying it from
Yeah.
somewhere else.
And the fact that he drove it up to me,
Mhm.
right? I was like,
Yeah,
all
you're
right, this
lucky
is the
that he was within driving range.
Yes, exactly. So
Like-
again,
Like
there are
even
going
if
to
he
be
didn't
deals
bring
out.
it to you,
Yeah,
even if he didn't bring it to you, and you could have went and picked it up.
yeah. But in terms of like just to close up this this topic real quick, I think now like it's basically what we're trying to say is like you collect what you love, right? You want
Yeah.
hot toys, great, do it. You like statues, great, do it. You like real robot, great, do it. You like figures, great, do it. But knowing the fact is that like in this day and age, you have to love it if you're going to keep
Yeah.
and you have to love it.
Well, and
Because
also
you to sell it is going to be nearly
it's gonna
impossible.
be crazy. And also, PJ, one thing that's helped, I think, a little bit as well is to understand that like we all have this disease, right? We all have this like sickness of collecting, and
Mhm.
as long as you understand that and know that, like, look, I don't want to cure it, I just want to manage it.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. I don't want
That's
to. I don't want
great.
to
That's a
stop
great-
collecting. I want to manage how this is affecting me and my life and my family's life. Like, you know, you've got to figure out how to manage the disease and say it's okay. It's just how do you manage it and just keep living your life and have a good life, right? Like that's all I want to do. And you know, it's possible. You just got to be
No,
careful. You just got to.
I agree. That's a great advice. Is to I like that. Like manage your disease, right?
A lot of people would say it's not a disease. I think it is. I think
Oh,
it's.
and
It's an addiction.
It's an addiction.
You just got to come to grips that this stuff ain't going nowhere. It's like
Right.
you think it is,
Right.
but it's not.
Right.
And then once you get, you know, once you
Always
get,
going to come back around. You just
yeah,
got.
once you get on top of that, it's pretty
Yeah,
easy.
man.
There's a lot of dragons you're feeding with this. You're feeding retail therapy.
Sure.
You're feeding nostalgia. You're
Mhm.
you're feeding your love for you know, pop culture IP in general. Like, you know, there's something to having it. Like when I read, I'm an avid reader, and I still like having books in my hand. I don't like reading things on tablets or phones and stuff. So
Absolutely.
there's something about touching it and having Darth Vader in the room with you. You know, so.
I get it.
Yeah, and it also brings back a little bit of your childhood too, right? Because when you had the toys when you're younger,
Mhm.
it's just like that, you know, that innocence back then, right?
It's
Where
just
you're like,
how it's like every time I walk by my collection, it's like doing a fucking like sniffing a line, man. It's like an edge.
Well, and the reason I bring all this up is that like you also have to manage the beast of like going on a hunt for something, getting it, opening it, and put that adrenaline like thing that happens when you put something on your shelf and then you turn around and go, what am I going to hunt for next?
All right, so
It's like-
listen, that is such I'm in lockstep with you right there. Men in general are we're hunters,
right?
And serious
cavemen, dude.
Exactly. It feeds that reptile part of your brain of like, oh man, I found it. Like when I'll go back to this well till I died. Thor, when you found me that guy that was doing the Wonder Woman thing, how long was I talking about that fucking Wonder Woman statue, man? And then I went and met up with the dude, and I was like, oh shit, like I found it in the wild. It was like a real life Pokemon catch thing, like
yeah. Dude, I went to Compton for a piece.
Woo!
I mean, it's crazy, dude. You'll do almost anything, bro. And that's you gotta be careful, man. You gotta start
that's crackhead territory,
dude. That's bad, man.
When you do anything for a piece,
that's committed. I'll say that's committed.
Meet him at a Starbucks. That's what I say to everybody. But like,
Starbucks.
but that said, like, you know, you got to manage that because that's part of that's almost worse than just the collectibles in general is finding the pieces and getting them in and that hunt for things. Just it can be way worse.
Yeah,
so I've noticed that like now that I don't really collect Hot Toys, I've noticed that I don't have that itch as bad. You know, like it would be like, oh, you know, I can't wait to really get this one, and then you finally snag it, and then it's like, all right, now I want this one,
right?
You know, and you kind of go down that rabbit hole. And like when Sean and I had gotten into it, like in late 16, dude, we were buying like 5 a week.
Yeah,
like we were snatching stuff.
They were a lot cheaper. They were a lot cheaper back then.
Yeah, but like we were getting stuff. For way under retail on eBay, free shipping, no tax.
Right.
Yeah.
It'd be 3 days a week. I was like, dude, rolling over to his office, like, dude, look what I got. Look what
it's exciting, dude. It's exciting.
Yeah.
And the smell too.
It was Christmas every week.
You know what? Can I tell you? There's something about, you know, Hot Toy smell or even the statue smell. I'm pretty sure it's also cancerous to smell that shit.
It could be.
You know, but it was like I remember opening up like, you know, my first premium format. Oh my gosh. Thor, you remember opening up your open. It's like, oh my gosh, like literally, you're sniffing that freaking line, right?
Yeah.
And you're like,
there'll be an infomercial one day, and it'd be like, oh, if you were opening up packages and it had stuff there, you might be entitled to a lawsuit. Yeah.
Well, and
one of those one day.
And the crazy thing about it is like opening a statue or some like really crazy collectible. It's like doing a line of coke, but really slowly. Like super like it. Yeah. Like you take your time and open it, and it's all this stuff. I'm telling you, man, it's just. It can.
I remember,
and then you're unwrapping each.
Yeah,
piece
dude.
with
it gets.
I
Is
mean,
it
I
you
remember
put it
years
on?
back, I was watching y'all's show, Matt, and I don't remember which thing you got in, but I
Yeah.
think it was a bust of something. I
Sure.
think,
Mhm.
and just the giddiness that
Oh
you
yeah.
had the whole time as you're opening up this one little piece and this piece, and it's like you can't eat. You're like all over the place. Like
Oh, it's great.
that is a great feeling.
It's a
like,
great feeling.
Like when
Yeah.
I opened up this other shoulder
Yeah.
statue, like
Mhm.
it was just like you're just in awe at every single piece that you're pulling out, and
Yeah.
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 It's tough, dude.
Wait,
It's-
Thor, you were gonna say something, Thor?
no, I was just saying for me, it was always equivalent to like undressing a woman.
yeah,
That's what it was always for me. 'Cause
Exactly. Yeah,
it's
you're
kind
right.
of like we went from chasing snatch to chasing like toys.
yeah,
Yeah, where do we go wrong?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Because oh my god, but it brings us joy, and that's the most important thing. It should. It shouldn't be stressful, right? You shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, I really want that piece, but how do I come up with them? It shouldn't be like that way. You should be able to enjoy the hobby, and
You gotta learn to
for
be
me,
selective. Learn
yeah,
to learn to
exactly.
curate your collection and not.
there's been plenty
Yeah.
of times that like something's come out and I'm like, man, that thing's freaking awesome, but there ain't no way in hell I'm paying whatever that price is. For
Well,
it.
that's
and I
what's
just
killing
wash my
the.
hands of it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what's also like hurting the hobby is like the tax now, right? Before
Yep.
there was some taxes, right, from Sideshow, and the shipping.
Shipping
I
is
mean, ridiculous, right? What Thor said earlier was it $800? Thor,
$632.
$600
I don't know what it
for
was.
shipping,
I don't know what the piece was, but
dude.
Or
if
how
I
much
went
do
to
you
pay-
think the shipping was for that? I'll give you one little bit of information. It was 2 boxes. They were 50 pounds a piece.
ooh, I
I'm
would
telling you,
say at
if
least
someone's
$500.
if someone is
No, it wasn't that bad. It was 350.
$350. Okay, I was gonna say 3, but when you were saying 2 boxes, I was like, maybe it was more.
No, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying, is like for $600 for shipping. I mean, literally, you would have to physically hand it to me. Not only hand it to me, help me build that thing for $500. Come on, that's ridiculous, man. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah,
you're
but yeah,
almost spending like 30% of the cost of the statue, like in shipping.
yeah, and
on
just
top of it,
get it to
like,
your
which is
house.
Crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
All right. So last topic for tonight, before we wrap things up, is obviously the pretty much the thumbnail topic or subject is starting a Star Wars podcast worth it, or even a YouTube channel,
No.
right? And then this thing.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, Matt.
I'm just
go-
Matt, tell us what you really
Tell
think.
us what you really think.
No.
Because you know what, too, like and it kind of coincides to like doing this for 200 episodes. It's quite some time. It's
Sure.
quite a feat, I would say. Like, I'm not trying to toot our horn here, but to do it for this long, yeah, okay, I don't have like over 1,000 subs, but I don't really care.
Mhm.
It's all about having fun and talking about Star Wars and talk about the things that we love. But Matt, I know you've been doing it just as long as me, and
Ish. Yeah.
Thor and Sean and everyone else here. Is it worth it?
I think for the people you meet and for the conversations you have, like,
Yeah.
I can tell you I know there's people out there that would break their arm off to be able to do this and to be able to hang out with people and converse and talk about collectibles and Star Wars. There's people that would love to do that, and they don't have the opportunity, or they just don't feel like they can do it. I definitely think it's worth it in that sense. Like just being able to discuss what's going on currently. I think the bad part about what we do is what we just kind of connects to what we just talked about, PJ, is we just talked about how like you need to be smart about collecting and curate your collection, all this stuff. But what we do makes people want to collect and go out and buy things a lot of times. Like we sometimes, because we're excited about something, can convince other people to go and get something that they might not need in their collection. And that's the one part about this that I kind of am bummed. Like I've thought about lately. That's kind of bummed me out, and we talked about this on the show last time, our last show as well, PJ, that we're like, I think we've probably influenced people, in too much a little bit with collecting. And that's a bummer because I think now that I know what I know now, I wish I would have said those things before, like when we started, but no one knew that kind of stuff. When you first start, you're excited about everything. You don't think about it. But like knowing what I know now, it's just be patient. Do what Thor does. Be very selective. Be very, very like careful with your collection because you're going to get to the point later on where you now have to make decisions that you might not want to make because you have so much shit or you've put out too much money or whatever. It's, so I wish we'd have been smarter earlier on to say that.
I Red Cop all the time. I'm like, this is the only YouTube show that I'm going to tell you not to buy anything.
Yeah.
It will talk about all this cool shit and tell you don't fucking buy it.
It's so important though. Like people need to understand that most of the stuff out there it's not always for you. Like they're putting stuff out. Everyone's going to put stuff out there, and everybody that talks on YouTube, I feel like, not necessarily UPJ or us or, our show, but like I know there's plenty of shows out there that this is a must have piece. You have to get this thing the next, and then the next week, something else comes out. I have to get this thing. And I'm not, look, PJ, I've heard you say that about some things, but that's okay for you to say that about what you want to get. Right. Yeah. Like you personally saying, I got to get this thing. Totally fine with that. I have no problem with that. Yeah. It's a difference when we're coming out on shows going, you have to get this thing. You have to get this thing. And then we turn around and the next week we do a show about like being patient, right? We have to be smarter about that stuff. And I wish we would have done that earlier on, but we didn't because we wouldn't have why would you think you'd have to do that? Like we were all super excited. It was the pandemic. No one had everyone was sitting with their thumb up their ass with a ton of money in their pocket. Like everyone had all the time in the world to do this stuff. So it was a different time that I think this was really going hard. And man, I don't know. I just feel like, I just feel like we would have made some better decisions. So.
Yeah. I was going to say, like I said, you do the Rogue One 6 and things like that. I mean, like your journey, like, doing YouTube and even, I wouldn't even consider it as a podcast. Like, do you look back and say, oh man, you know what? I should have just not do it. Or you look back and say, you know what? It has its ups and downs, but I really love it.
It does. Well, the other down that I don't think anybody realizes is the time it takes away from your family or your.
Absolutely.
I don't think people understand that. Like, and especially depending on the time, it depends on the time you have to get on, right? Like right now it's 6 something for me. Like I usually, because I'm on the West Coast, I have to get on. I miss dinners. I miss, my family. And it's a shame. Like that really hit me hard at one point. And I think that's when I kind of pulled back quite a bit, PJ, and I just decided I need to stop for a while. Because I wanted to kind of get my priorities correct. And I think that's really important for doing this. You have to have your priorities right. But again, like I said, this is what's, I think, the most valuable thing is being able to discuss the thing that you love, like Star Wars and collecting with people that care about it just as much as you do. Again, like I said, people come into my room, they don't give a shit. They don't know I can't talk to them about this stuff. They don't care. Like they want to talk about freaking bullshit, like whatever their kids, which I don't care about other people's kids, but like, like whatever their kids doing in school or soccer. No, I'm just saying, like, you care about your kids and that's important. Why do I need to care about it? So like that, but that said, like that's what other people want to talk about. And it's like, that's fine. But being able to do this is special. Right. And that's what I think why this is super valuable, at least for me personally.
I agree. All right. We'll go with Thor. Well, I mean, you've been, like I said, been doing it for a while. You had DCX, the live shows, interviews and things like that. Is this something you would recommend to people now? If they ask you, it's like, hey, should I start a podcast or, what's your
I mean, sure, because you never know what it could mean to other people, and that's the lesson I think I learned the most was that when we were doing that, it made so many people happy, and I had no idea how many, and people used to hit me up, and I literally got messages like this: "You got me through a difficult time," or
Yeah.
"I was going through this, and I had death in the family. You guys kept us laughing, and all this other kind of stuff." And when you say worth, it's like, are you in it? What are you in it for? You in it for the money? You in it for this?
Right.
But you get these, like Matt said, you get these friendships that like I ain't gonna even lie. I used to love going on Road 16 and luring them into the statue. And people used to hit me up. They said, "Man, ever since you went on there, they got rid of all these hot toys. And next thing you know, you got these NYC statues and all this kind of stuff,
So
and
good.
that's stuff that you remember, man. You remember,
Well, Thor,
all that
your
kind of stuff.
your show, your DCX show was crazy.
Bro, I mean,
I watched that stuff just because it was crazy to watch.
I've been going back and watching some of it, man. This is like stuff I forgot about that I was like, and I swear I tell everybody, I said, bro, nothing was staged. I swear to God, everything was organic. Everything that happened on its own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what made it special, and of course now a lot of people have like kind of copied the model and stuff, but that's all right, But that's fine. And even people tell me, we started because of you, and I'm like, because of me, and but I say it's worth it. Like Matt says, you get these friendships and the memories that you make are just
Thor,
priceless.
I think you'd also agree with this though, is if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna start something, you just start it for the right reason.
Exactly.
And understand that you're not gonna make money doing
no.
like you're really not. It's not if you think you're gonna do that, you're doing it for the wrong reason. If you're chasing subscribers, don't do that. Like, it's just do it because you love it and you enjoy it and you want to hang out with people. Like, do it because of that. Right.
And I think something else that people don't think about is like, this is, they keep this on YouTube, and like as you get older, you can go back and and look at it. Oh yeah, I remember that. That's memories. You know what I mean? So So I would say it's definitely worth it.
Okay. How about you, Sean? I know you've been in this for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Joined Setcast, and now you've been experienced and a veteran in it. So
I've put my time in. But no, I think it's a good idea. Just get into it. But like Matt said, you do it for the right reasons.
Right.
You're not going to make any money. You're going to sacrifice a lot of your time.
Yeah.
And you got to do it for the love of it. I mean, as long as you're having fun at it, you keep doing it, because that's the only thing you're going to get out of it. It's the camaraderie with like-minded people. You meet awesome friends. You're not going to make any money, but if you're enjoying just getting on and talking Star Wars, and like PJ said, like, who am I going to talk Star Wars to? My wife's going to look at me like, shut up, get out of here,
Yeah.
So once a week we can get on here and talk about it. So go for it, as long as you enjoy it,
Yeah. And how's your experience been, like, since joining?
It's been great.
Setcast and doing this for 3 years now.
I love it. Like I truly love just meeting everybody, and we're all like-minded, and it's great.
He's underpaid, PJ.
Definitely underpaid. Definitely underpaid.
Incredibly underpaid.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say too, Sean, like, and you met like some new friends too through YouTube as well, right?
Made
like,
a ton. Made a ton of friends, especially because you meet them, basically through these channels, and then next thing you know, you're all going to cons together and you're hanging out, and then those bonds get stronger. And I mean, that's what it's about, Like, I love it. It's fun, I know I've been out of it lately, but
no, but life
it feels good. Just like even today, like, to be honest, like, because I work for a prop company and we do a weekly video. And I do all the producing of it. And we filmed 3 of them today because everyone's going to be at MegaCon next week. And that was one reason I was working late, because I had to get all the editing and everything done before I left. So, and I was on a couple of the shows because the one girl was out because there was a death in her family. So I've been streaming all day, basically. But, it's fun though, and you don't do it because, I want to get famous or I want to get rich.
Right.
It ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
You do it for the fun of it, man. So go for it.
Yeah. All right. So we'll go to Rob. Rob, I know, like I said, you been doing this for quite some time. I know you're taking a break. I mean, if someone came up to you and say, "Hey, Rob, I was thinking about starting a podcast or YouTube," like, what's your advice to them?
There's really not much I could say that hasn't already been said, with the exception of, if you look at it from the perspective of, let's say you like to go out and socialize at a bar, right? Well, this is going out to a bar, but you get to be around like-minded people and talk about the shit you like to talk about. So if you're going to start a podcast to hang out and turn it into like a virtual Cheers, so to speak, like the Star Wars version of Cheers, you get to talk with your buddies and have a good time. That should be the sole reason why you do it. It should never be for the money, because there is none. And let's just face it, there never will be, because no one in this game could ever be like a Joe Rogan, right? Like, you just don't. The amount of people that could potentially tune in and listen to you, the audience just isn't there. But if you're gonna do it for someone else or for another reason, as far as like making other people happy, that should be a secondary thing. You should be doing this to make you happy, to meet, hang out with your friends. If you're the type of person who doesn't really even have a lot of friends, or you don't have an outlet to discuss things like Star Wars or DC or Marvel, the new movies, or any type of pop culture shit you're into, this could be a perfect outlet for that. And I would say that would be a good vehicle to like, hey, I hang out with my friends on Friday nights or Wednesday nights, and I used to play D&D when I was younger. What's the difference between playing a 3-hour session of D&D or doing an hour and a half podcast with your friends? It's the same shit. You're just kind of hanging out, and you would hope that enough people would tune in to where you could make new friends, and the chat room could keep the conversation going. Like, that's all secondary. So if you just want to have an outlet and you want to hang out with people, I'd say do it. But realize that in order to be entertaining and in order for other people to be into what it is you're doing, you have to have a little bit of you got to have a little bit of entertainment value. You got to have a little bit of charisma. If you don't got the charisma, it ain't going to work as far as you thinking you're going to be some kind of big YouTuber. So use this as a vehicle to talk with like-minded people and make new friends. And that is extra.
And Rob, I would say also, like, do something somewhat unique, maybe somewhat different. I mean, like, the problem these days is that everyone does exactly
the same thing.
It's the same shit. Everyone does the same shit, and it's like, I get it. What else are you gonna do? I totally understand it. It's not a big deal. It's just like that's what it is, right? So,
or you know what? A lot of people start faking it. Sure. They'll hate on something because that's the best way to gain views, or they'll do the opposite of that. They'll like something too much.
Yeah, sure.
They'll like everything because that's the only way they could get sponsorship or even views. So there's a lot of things out there, and we'll go to Anthony now. I'll put my 2 cents in. I know, Anthony, you just got in like in the past couple months. I mean, so far, how's your journey in the podcast world? Or
I enjoy it. It gives me something to do. I enjoy talking about Star Wars. I've always kind of liked a lot of the Marvel, DC stuff as well. So I enjoy it. I get along. I'm easy to get along with. Sean and I have known each other for like 30 some years, 40 years or whatever. And, met PJ, met a couple times with Thor. I used to be in the chat talking shit. And then finally one day PJ was like, hey, you want to come on one time? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, And so, I started coming on every once in a while. And then, he said, hey, would you like to come on full time? And I was like, yeah, I could do that.
That's cool.
I'm not doing anything at night, but like I would say, if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, absolutely. Why not? As long as you have a good topic to talk about, if you gotta be charismatic, you can't kind of be a dud.
Yeah.
And it's, I would say,
hello, everybody. Your monotone.
Don't hold back. That's another thing, is that if you have a little bit of personality, if you notice you're hanging out with friends and you can make them laugh, you got a little bit of wit, you let it fly, because that's who you are. Don't try to put on some kind of like radio personality voice or be something that like, you think other people want to hear. Just be you and let it fly, and don't worry about it. If people don't like you, they're not going to listen. Because like my biggest issue was people saying he's too crass. I remember Nick Nack telling me, "Yo, you're like the fucking Wolverine, like you're just telling fuck this guy, fuck that company, whatever." Like, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's me, man. Whatever. If you don't like it and it's too crass, don't.
Right.
I'm not going to listen. And if you like it, think it's funny, great. Welcome aboard."
But you could also lean into that. You know?
Right. Well, yeah. He's like, you could always take like if you run it like a 7, you could always tune it to like an 8.5, 9. You know, for comedic effect or whatever, because it's still part of your personality. But I would just say that don't hold back and try to like look cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like
you want to looking stupid.
I would say the people that like if you there's a very, very, very slim chance that you're going to get on here, make a YouTube channel, and then strike gold. You know, they're like the people that have done it in Hot Toys. It's probably like a couple people, you know, that actually making some type of money off of it. But
who's that main guy that does the Hot Toy reviews? That like he's from Australia or shit.
Justin. Yep.
Yeah, and I think his review,
I would say he's so you
my head against the table when I hear him.
Yeah. But see, I would say that he would be
thousands of people that like his shit.
See, he's got one thing going for him. He's so close to Japan that he can damn near get it the next day. So he could put that review out there first, whereas not everybody can do that if they live in the United States.
And he did something that's really actually important if you want to be successful in YouTube. It's content. It's just consistent,
nonstop,
every day. Yeah,
consistent content. And he was very consistent with it. So
he was in a very unique situation at the right time, because there was that market for, you know, when the stuff's coming out of Hong Kong and it's going to take, you know, a couple weeks before it ever gets, you know, to Sideshow. And then depending on where you're at, you're probably not going to get it for a week. And there was many times where I'd watch it to kind of see what his impression was of the figure. And then I'd be like, I'm going to get it, or no, I'm not.
I agree with you, Rob, though. Like, I'd rather stick my hand in the blender than hear his voice. Like, I just can't anymore.
I feel like I'm watching a fucking stick. He's so sterile. There's no no personality. There's no, you know, like I don't know. You can tell something by somebody when like they don't curse and they're super clean and everything is just so corporate and
some people. I don't know. Some people
are allergic to that shit.
To like him. I don't know.
Yeah,
but.
It's crazy. Wouldn't tune into when I did Hot Toy reviews. I only got a couple of thousand.
Yeah,
views.
Well, that's the thing. Something's working.
Thousands of reviews. So he's doing something that's working, and I'm not going to hate on it. It's just, hey, listen, I guess it's not for me.
Well, like I said, I think that he was in a very, very unique situation, being that close in proximity, having the ability to get it before anybody else would ever get it, so that he could put it out, and then everybody else's review is irrelevant. Even the people that are going to be doing reviews are watching his review. And it's crazy to talk about this inauthentic stuff, because Sean called me this morning about something. He needs help with something. And we were talking, and the subject came up with somebody else. I'm not even going to mention who. And I was like, you know, some of these people that have kind of like essentially like sold out to just be like, everything's positive, you have to buy this is the greatest thing in the world, like whether it be critiquing a movie or critiquing you know, a toy, after a while, if they love everything, you're going to start to think like, oh, you know what, they're just telling me to buy it because they're paid to tell me to buy it, so they're inauthentic. Essentially they're fake. And so it might work out amazing for them in the short term, but their days are numbered before somebody realizes, like, you know, we were specifically talking about like movies and TV shows. And, you know, if generally speaking, a movie or a TV show is not received well, and this is the greatest thing that's ever been done, and, you know, they're using all the super superlatives and all that kind of stuff, after a while, people are going to be like, this fucker's fake. I'm not listening to anything he's got to say because I can't trust him because he's bought and paid for. You know,
I got in trouble with Sideshow. I was doing for very briefly, I did some reviews for them, and I made a joke out of selling out to them. Like, I put a suit on. I pretended I was like the $1 Million Man from wrestling, and I was like, oh, you know, your boy Rob Banks sold out to the highest bidder, and we're gonna review this thing. I made a complete fucking joke out of it, and I caught so much shit from them. They're like, "Yo, we're not working with you anymore. You're like insulting the company." And I'm like, "Yo, I gave you a positive review on the thing." And it was so tongue-in-cheek and obviously over the top. And it was like, yo, we just want you to review it and love it. And that's it. It'd be plain, no joking, no characters. And it's like, you know, then you're fucking sucking all the joy out of it then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
yeah,
I did notice at one point that Sideshow was actually doing reviews that were very similar to Justin's and to can't remember his name, Jetta Patrol. It was very like here it is. It's on a Lazy Susan, you know, with a white background. Like I started noticing they were doing reviews just like that. So they obviously picked up on that this style is really good, and maybe like we get the stuff before they get it, so we can actually like circumvent them.
Yeah, that was another thing too that pissed me off about them is when Sideshow started doing their own like, how are you reviewing your own shit? Like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah,
you know, like
it would be like internal affairs, and they're doing an investigation into themselves, and they're saying we didn't find that we did anything wrong. So
yeah, we could completely cut out, you know, having to send things out for review or whatever when we could just do the shit ourselves. And it was like, when that company,
I would think that they looked at it
shit.
Just like a while back, we talked about the different. Like the secondary market, and we talked about like how they're probably looking at it and like, oh, well, this right here is selling for 3 or 4 times what retail was. We should just reissue it and cut out that whole market and get that's our pie. We want it. So I would also look at it, you know, like Justin was getting millions of views. So like they probably looked at it and like, we could monetize this shit. Why don't we just do it exactly like he's doing it? Get it
and confuse and could probably confuse everybody too.
Well,
right? Like, is this Justin, or is this, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Their production.
Well, the whole thing would be they can put out the video of the product before he can put it out.
Yeah.
And the first one to get it out there is the one that's going to get views. Perfect example of this. Sean got the ATST really early. And he put, I filmed him, and he put because there's no instructions on how to do it. It was the one from NYC. How many views did that get, Sean? Was it something like he got like 10,000 views in like a week?
Yeah, I think
it's probably 60 or 70,000 at this point.
No, I think it's like 54,000, something like that.
Well, there you go.
Still, that's a lot of friggin' views.
That's
you know?
a ton of views
for a guy that doesn't push it.
And for a statue that essentially there was probably like 100 of them, you know, but like, this goes to show if you get first, then you know, you're gonna get a lot of traction on it. Like when I was one of the first people that got the Anakin versus Obi-Wan, and it was a son of a bitch to put together because there was no instructions and you got to be delicate with stuff. So I had my girlfriend film me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put this on. And I put it on PJ's, and then I put it on the actual guy that made it. And that guy has thanked me multiple times. Sure. And every time somebody says, hey, how do I put this together? He basically goes and tags that video, tags them in the video. I don't even know what the views are on it now, but it was doing very well. I actually wish I would have probably put it on YouTube, but he told me don't put it anywhere else.
Well, and I think it's a good another good thing to remember is that like ultimately just do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Like don't worry about all the extra shit, because YouTube is just one thing I learned is not to trust anything or anybody necessarily, in the sense that like you can buy reviews, you can buy views, you can do all of these. You don't know what you're looking at. You don't know how successful someone actually is. You could be looking at a facade. Yeah, don't worry about it. Just do what you do and enjoy what you enjoy, because you know, it's such a smokescreen. Like you just don't know what's real out there, you know.
That's true.
Unless you have like actual relationships with people, right? That's
Yeah.
that's when you know
you
who.
do, especially as a reviewer, is content farming. Like I found myself buying every Mezco figure, reviewing it just so I can keep the YouTube channel going, and then selling the ones that I didn't want.
Right.
And it was like I didn't want every Mezco figure, but I need fucking content for the channel.
Exactly.
You gotta have something out. You got to have a review out at least every month or every 2 weeks.
Like hamster wheel.
And it's just money and money.
So you find yourself buying stuff that you don't necessarily want, but you're only getting it for like making
feed
a
the
video
channel.
put up.
You got to feed the dragon. That's it.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I would say Justin is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
He at one point he was only buying IPs, and then he started buying every IP.
Yeah.
And then he started buying the secondary, like the third party figures. And I haven't watched a video of his since I got out of Hot Toys, but at one point in time, holy shit, he had
Everything.
every IP, he had every figure. I mean, it was.
But
I
again,
had
that's
damn near 100.
it
Hot
is
Toys.
successful. It is a
Very.
successful strategy. It's just,
Yeah.
do you want to do that? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
You-
Plus,
Yeah.
plus, you know what? Can I say real quick? Like you said, Matt, it takes time away from your family.
Yeah.
Right. And you're doing it. Like I realized, like when I was doing the reviews and stuff, it was taking time from my family, and I was entrenched in it. I was engulfed in it. It's like you said, trying to get the first review out, or
Right.
trying to get it from Hong Kong because that's the only way to get views and
Mhm.
get recognized and build subscribers that way. And then at some point, I realized too, like one of the reasons why I stopped and is that like, wait a minute, like for me to get a discount through Hong Kong to get this figure early is I have to promote that company. Not only that, that company is also upcharging all the collectors, all my viewers to
Yeah.
buy it from them.
Mhm.
And then I couldn't look at myself, and that's why I stopped doing it. Well, stopped getting from Hong Kong because I was like, all right, I'm getting the views at what cost?
Mm.
To screw my viewers, my subscribers over? Like, I'm not doing this,
Yeah.
right? And for what? For subs? Like, this is not paying my mortgage. This is not doing anything,
But I
right?
can
It's just
see-
it's just making me more stressed out, right? It's making me, like encourage, like trying to rip people off.
Yeah.
And
You're not
I
really
couldn't-
ripping them off,
couldn't-
but you're kind of like in a roundabout way. You're
Yeah,
you're not ripping them off, but you are enticing them into buying stuff.
and exactly buy from here,
Yeah.
and because they won't know, they don't know, they don't
Yeah.
go surfing the Facebook places.
Yeah,
Groups and
but
stuff.
I would also say that like anybody that if you have a shred of common sense, if you see somebody constantly promoting a company that they're buying it for,
Yeah,
one
but
should assume that person is getting some
Yeah,
type of
but-
deal or something like that.
I know,
Yeah,
but the thing,
but
the
the
thing
problem
is
is
that
you-
like
PJ, the problem is you fall into the trap that look what happened with Justin in Toys Wonderland. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
that's a perfect example of
I just
doing
why I
something and falling into something where it becomes this massive problem for everybody.
PJ and Collector Zone.
no, but
All
yeah,
this stuff. It's
but
crazy.
the thing too is that like I have morals and I wouldn't do that to anybody. And for me, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna be get all the subscribers because I'm not doing this. I'm not encouraging people to buy and paying overprice so that I benefit from it. And I don't want to go deep down this rabbit hole, but it was for me. You have to think about it too. When you watch a review online on YouTube, right? Whether it be for like some kitchen products and stuff, they're not upcharging the kitchen product, right? They're not
Yeah.
like if it's $10, it's $10, right? It's not like $10, but you get it early by paying $20 for it,
Right.
and that's what's happening. So,
Oh,
but
so
yeah,
you're
no,
saying that the people in Hong Kong selling it at a higher price for the people that want it early.
Yeah.
yes, and then
I
I'm
got you.
getting it
Okay.
early, but then other people are like,
But you're
I
not
have
you're not
to-
paying that extra.
No, but I have to advertise that to
Right.
get it through him, so I could get the
Yeah,
discount.
I got you.
So
right, I got you. I got
I
you.
couldn't, I can't, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
do
get
that.
I get that.
Yeah,
And
but
but-
I would say that most people should assume that if you're promoting, like Justin when he was doing it for Toys Wonderland, everybody should assume that he is getting. it at
no,
a
you got a
discount.
lot of people that are new to the hobby. They don't
Yeah,
know
they
don't-
any better.
They're naive.
Listen, I think
That's
No,
how
they just don't
sponsorship
know.
work.
and
That is
PJ,
the-
I think the moral of the story to if you want to wrap it up is maybe
Yeah.
it's worth it to start it.
Yeah.
No,
to start
no,
something like
so-
this because it
so-
could not be for you.
Yeah.
Well,
so I'll just
Okay,
you know,
let me just say this when it comes to that, and then we can drop the subject. But like, Sean and I rode BMX. We had sponsors. All right, they are essentially either paying us or they're giving us product to promote because they want other people to buy the product. Now, does that make us a little bit biased in that specific product?
No, but see,
Absolutely.
no, but yeah, absolutely. But the thing is that that company is not upcharging that you their customers. You know,
Yeah, okay, I would say that is a difference.
yeah. I say there's a difference. You know, which is fine. Like you go on YouTube and you watch a review on a kitchen product. You know, it's whether you like it or not. Like you know, you do your research, but they're not. You're
Yeah.
not like up. They're not upcharging you. But just real quick, I just kind of want to wrap things up. You know, my real quick thoughts on it is that YouTube and podcasting is hard, right? Like, you know, what, you know, Sean, Matt, and everyone has said, right? It takes time out of your day. Takes, you know, I appreciate Thor, Matt, and everyone else that hopped on the show, took the time out of your busy schedules to hop on and talk about Star Wars, right? So that's that aspect, right? Where it does take time out of, you know, from away from your family or time out of your day. But you got to love it. You know, you definitely have to love it. You have to love coming on and talking about Star Wars or whatever topic or thing that you like to talk about the most. For me, it's worth it because I made so many good friends. I made so many good connections. I would never have thought that I would know someone from South Carolina, DC, Maryland, New York, California, you know, all these different states, right? I was in my bubble. And that's the beauty about, you know, social media and YouTube and podcasting is that you get to meet like-minded people from all over the country, even on the people that are watching and listening right now. I really appreciate that you guys are tuning in and listening to us. It's much, much appreciated because you could tune into anything else, but you're taking time out of your busy schedule to watch us, and you know, truly appreciate it. And there are times where people reached out to me, you know, far from Death Star, right? I had a drink with him in California when we met up in Star Wars Celebration. To me, that's worth it. You know, like, wow, like, cool. Because before I had this, I had nothing. I had no one to talk to. My friends didn't really care about Star Wars. I would tell them about the midichlorians, and you know what they'll say to me? Shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Can you not talk about the midichlorians? Because that's the one thing I hate about the Star Wars prequels. But again, I can come here and talk to you guys about it. Talk to Thor. You know, Thor and I have been great friends. Sean, Rob, Anthony, Matt, you know? And to me, like I said, there's no financial or, you know, financial benefit. Obviously, there are a few people that are able to do this for a living, but you have to think of it this way. One famous YouTuber said, everyone likes to play basketball, but how many people can make it to the NBA and play basketball for a living? Same goes with YouTube. Yeah, anyone can do YouTube. Anyone can start a channel, but very few people actually make a living out of it. If you come to grips with that and you still want to do YouTube, go for it, because then now you know you're doing it for the love of it. Love of the thing you want to talk about, and the love for, you know, to the people, with the like-minded people that you surround yourself with. So with that being said, thank you to everybody. Thank you for, you know, help. Thank you to the people on the chat, on the panel, for helping us get to the 200th episode mark. Really appreciate it, you know. And yeah, I could safely say now, Sean and Anthony, another one in the books.
That's it. 200 of them in the
no.
books.
200 of them in the books.
200
just-
in the books.
just really quick, Thor. We'll start with you. Just want to plug everyone's channel before we wrap things up. Bro, when you gonna do DCX Live, man? I think we're due for one soon. Not anytime soon. Oh man. Oh, okay.
Gotta cut it off sometime, bro.
Oh,
Had to rip the Band-Aid off. I mean, I don't know. Somebody suggested that we get everybody back together for a reunion one, so maybe one day. But everybody's kind of doing their own thing, man. So,
well, let me know. I'll be there. So,
of course.
all right, cool. But please check out DCX and watch some of their previous episodes and some of the previous live shows. They're a lot of fun, and some of the interviews, and Red Cup was one of
Yeah,
the interviews.
those are coming. Norman still has a lot on. Got Sean was on there. He got a lot he got to do, so he's kind of got a backlog. So the interviews will be coming on pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Rob. I know you've been out for a bit. Anything new?
Nah, nothing new from me, man. Like I said, I'm keeping it the way it is. I'm hanging up my Red Cup cape, but I will be anytime any one of you guys throw up the bat symbol, I'll be there.
Well, I will throw up the Red Cup symbol. How's that? And I would love to have you back on the show. So, by the way, just real quick, Rob and we used to go back and forth with some of the sequel conversations we had back then. But guess what? Even though we had differences, we're still friends. So
That's it. Exactly.
that's the one thing about things like this, right? It brings us closer. Matt, I know he's he's probably just stepped out for a little bit, but please check out Matt and the rest of the Rogue 16 crew on the channel, Rogue 16. I'll put his link in the live chat, but please check him out. They do live streams once in a while, and they just hit the 200 episode mark. So congrats to them. So please check them out. But again, thank you guys for helping us to get to the 200 episode. And yeah. So with that being said, Sean,
Peace.
Anthony, another one of the books. May the midichlorians be with you guys always and forever.